The first thing I noticed was the gravy on Ellen's cuff. She'd been moving around the dining room with the gravy boat in one hand and a dish towel over the other, leaning between shoulders, asking people to lift their glasses so she could set things down. The gravy had sloshed when Ben pulled his chair back without looking. Ellen dabbed at her sleeve, said, "It's fine," and kept going. Then I noticed her plate. There wasn't one. Everybody else had turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, green beans, and the cranberry relish Tessa claimed wasn't optional. At Ellen's place, there was a folded red napkin, a fork, and an empty patch of tablecloth. "Mom," Tessa called as Ellen headed back toward the kitchen. "Can you hurry? Everything's getting cold." Ellen glanced over her shoulder. "I forgot the butter." "We have gravy. You always want butter on the rolls." "I do, but I'd also like to eat sometime tonight." Ben laughed, not a big laugh, just the reflexive kind people use when they want a sharp sentence to pass as a joke. I looked at Ellen, waiting for annoyance, or at least surprise. She apologized. That was the part I couldn't get past. "I'm sorry, honey. 2 seconds." She disappeared through the swinging door, and conversation resumed around the table, as naturally as water closing over a dropped stone. I picked up my plate and set it in Ellen's empty place. Ben stopped in the middle of telling Naya something about a man at work who'd microwaved a foil-wrapped burrito. "What are you doing?" Tessa asked. "Giving your mother dinner." "Dad, she's getting her own." "Then I'll eat that one." Luke looked down at his hands. He had folded them beside his plate instead of picking up his fork. That was the first strange thing I noticed about him, though it wouldn't be the last. Tessa leaned back in her chair. She was 38 years old, but she still made the same face she'd made at 15 when I told her she couldn't take our car to Cincinnati. Chin lifted. Eyes narrowed just enough to let me know I had become unreasonable without warning. "You're making this weird," she said. I moved a plate 6 inches. You know what I mean. The kitchen door swung open, and Ellen came through with the butter dish. She saw my plate at her place and stopped. "Frank, you hadn't served yourself. I was going to. Sit. I'll get another plate. Can we please not do this?" Her voice was low, almost cheerful, which was how Ellen sounded when she was one inconvenience away from putting somebody through drywall. "It's Christmas. That's why I thought you might want dinner. I do want dinner. Then sit down." Everyone watched us except Luke. Luke watched the turkey. Ellen set the butter on the table. "You're all acting like I've been chained to the stove." "No one said that," Tessa replied. "You just told her to hurry," I said. "I asked her to hurry. There's a difference." Nia reached for the wine and poured herself a little more. She had the survival instincts of a woman who'd married into our family 8 years earlier and had learned not to volunteer during holiday crossfire. Ben cleared his throat. "The good news is, I'm pretty sure the rolls have stopped aging. Nobody laughed that time." Ellen finally sat, but she pushed my plate back toward me. "I don't want your food. You cooked it. I'll get my own. I'll get it. Frank," she mouthed. I knew the look. It meant I could either help her privately or embarrass her publicly. And in Ellen's mind, I had already chosen wrong. I went to the kitchen. The counters looked like a small appliance store had exploded. Foil, bowls, measuring spoons, the hand mixer I'd repaired twice, 3 damp towels, and a saucepan with a brown ring burned around the bottom. On the cutting board sat the turkey's ragged remains. Ellen had carved everybody else the decent slices, and left herself the pieces that looked like they'd lost a bar fight. I found a clean plate and built a meal from what was left. Ellen appeared behind me before I could carry it out. "Please don't," she said. "Don't what?" "Turn dinner into a tribunal. I'm making you a plate. You know that's not all you're doing." I set down the spoon. "She spoke to you like you worked here. She's stressed. So that means you don't eat?" "I've eaten all day. I've been cooking." "Tasting isn't dinner." She pulled the dish towel from her shoulder and tossed it by the sink. "Do you want me to admit she was rude? Fine. She was rude. Do you want me to cry now? Or can we go back in before Ben starts carving the centerpiece? You shouldn't have to wait on everybody." "I wasn't waiting on everybody. I was serving Christmas dinner to everybody except yourself." Her face changed then. "Not much." Ellen never gave a person more reaction than she wanted them to have. But she looked past me at the plate I'd made, and for a second she seemed tired, in a way sleep wouldn't touch. Then Tessa called from the dining room. "Did we lose both of you?" Ellen closed her eyes. I expected her to stay. She picked up the plate and went back in. Dinner recovered because family dinners usually do. You can say something unforgivable over mashed potatoes, And 5 minutes later, somebody will ask, "Who wants salt?" Ben told his microwave story. Nia asked Ellen how she kept the turkey moist. Tessa described the wreath on their neighbor's front door as aggressively beige, which made Ellen laugh despite herself. Luke barely spoke. He was a big man, not heavy, just broad enough that every dining chair looked temporary under him. Usually he and Ben carried the conversation together. Luke could turn a trip to the hardware store into a 15-minute performance, complete with accents. That night, he gave short answers and drank water. Twice, Tessa touched his arm. Twice, he moved to reach for something. After dinner, Ellen stood automatically. I caught her wrist, not hard, just enough to stop the motion. "I'll clear. You hate the way I load the dishwasher. I hate the way everybody loads the dishwasher." "That is true," Nia said. Ben carried 2 plates into the kitchen. "I'm helping under protest." "You're carrying your own plate," Nia told him. "And Dad's. That's collective action." Tessa remained seated. She'd taken off her shoes under the table and tucked 1 foot beneath her. Luke still hadn't finished eating. "Coffee?" Ellen asked. I looked at her. She sighed. "It was a question, Frank. I'm allowed to ask people if they want coffee. I'll make it." "You don't know where the Christmas coffee is. Coffee has seasons now?" "It has cinnamon in it," Ben said. "It tastes like a craft store," Luke said. It was the first joke he'd made all evening. Ben laughed too loudly. Tessa did not. That should have warned me. We moved to the living room for dessert. The tree stood in the front window, loaded with ornaments Ellen had accumulated over 40 years. Some were beautiful. Some were things our children had made with glue, yarn, and open contempt for symmetry. Ellen kept every one. I brought the pie out and cut it badly enough that she had to look away. "No commentary," I told her. I didn't say anything. "Your eyebrows did. My eyebrows have standards." For a while, we were ourselves again. Then Tessa set down her coffee. "So," she said. That one word changed the temperature in the room. Luke leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Ellen looked from him to Tessa. Ben kept chewing pie. Tessa rubbed her thumb against the handle of her mug. Her fingernails were painted a dark green, except for one thumbnail where the polish had been peeled halfway off. "Luke and I are taking some time apart." Ben stopped chewing. Ellen said, "What does that mean?" "It means what it sounds like." "No, it doesn't," I said. "People say that when they don't want to say what's happening." Tessa looked at Luke as though he had chosen the wording. Luke stared at the floor. "I'm moving out." Ellen sat forward. "Tonight? I already have a place." "You already," she turned to Tessa. "How long has this been going on? Can we not make it sound like somebody's having an affair?" "Is somebody having an affair?" Ben asked. "No," Luke said. Tessa gave Ben a look. "Thank you for making that the first question. I'm trying to understand. You could try quietly." Nia placed a hand on Ben's knee, and he went quiet, though his face remained full of questions. Ellen asked, "What happened?" "Nothing happened," Tessa said. Luke's head came up. She saw it and corrected herself. "No single thing happened." "That's not the same as nothing," he said. "I know it's not." "Then don't say nothing." Tessa crossed her arms. "This is why I didn't want to do this here." "You insisted we wait until after dinner," Luke said. "Because I wasn't ruining Christmas." The room went still. I thought of Ellen's empty place, my plate sliding across the table, Tessa telling her to hurry. It occurred to me that Christmas had been considered unruined because the rest of us had received the full performance. Ellen moved closer to Tessa on the couch. "Are you staying at the house by yourself?" "For now." "Do you want to stay here?" I turned toward my wife. Tessa hadn't asked. Luke hadn't left yet. Nothing had been explained, and Ellen was already offering shelter. Tessa looked at me before answering. "Maybe for a couple of weeks." Luke nodded once, a small movement that somehow looked like defeat. "You can stay," Ellen said. "We should talk about it," I said. Every face turned toward me. Ellen's was the worst because it held genuine disbelief. "She's our daughter. I know who she is." Tessa stood so quickly coffee jumped over the edge of her mug. "Forget it. I knew Dad would make this about him." I said we should talk. "Luke is leaving me, and you need a committee meeting?" Luke stood too. "I'm not leaving you tonight, Tessa. We've been discussing this for months." "Oh, good. Correct the language. That's useful. I'm not doing this here. You wanted honesty. I wanted us to tell them, and now we have." She walked into the dining room in her stocking feet. Ellen followed immediately. Luke remained by the couch, looking at the tree. Ben asked the question none of us had earned the right to ask yet. Why? Luke rubbed both hands over his face. Because I'm tired, he said. It sounded too small to end a marriage. It also sounded final. He left 10 minutes later. Tessa refused to watch him go, so Ellen stood at the front window in her place. I helped Luke carry a duffel and a cardboard box out to his car. Snow had started falling, light and dry, dusting the shoulders of his coat. At the driver's door, he looked back at our house. I'm sorry, Frank. For what? He gave a tired laugh. Pick something. Then he drove away. When I went inside, Tessa was crying against Ellen's shoulder. Ben and Naya were gathering their things, speaking softly. I stood in the doorway with cold air still clinging to my shirt, feeling like a guest who had returned at the wrong moment. By 10 the next morning, Tessa's car was in our driveway. By 10:15, 6 suitcases and 3 storage bins were in our hall. At 10:30, she opened the door to my den, looked at the desk where I kept my bills, tools, and half-finished model boat, and said, I'm going to need this room for work. Before I could answer, Ellen came in behind her carrying a mug. I made your coffee the way you like it, she said. Tessa took it without looking at her. Thanks, Mom. Then she pointed at my desk. Dad, how fast can you clear this off? Not very fast, I said. Tessa looked at the desk again, as if a second inspection might reveal I was joking. I have calls starting tomorrow. I have bills starting yesterday. You can pay bills at the kitchen table, and you can make calls from your house. Ellen made a small sound behind us. Tessa's face tightened. You want me to go sit alone in that house while Luke is off enjoying his furnished bachelor apartment? I didn't say that. You literally just said it. I said your house has rooms. Frank, Ellen warned. Tessa set her coffee on my desk, directly on an envelope from the electric company. I can work in the guest room if you want every person I talk to seeing a bed behind me. I don't care what the people you talk to see. I do. That's why I'm asking for the den. You didn't ask. You pointed. She stared at me. Ellen moved between us, not physically, but with her voice, which she could place between 2 people like a piece of furniture. It's 2 weeks, she said. We can all be flexible for 2 weeks. The phrase had magic in it. 2 weeks wasn't moving in. 2 weeks was weather. 2 weeks was a sore back, a dental crown, or a carton of milk you'd bought too much of. Only an unreasonable man would refuse to endure 2 weeks. I picked up Tessa's mug and handed it to her. The boat stays. She glanced toward the model on the filing cabinet. I'd been building it for 6 months from a kit Ben gave me for my birthday, 1 plank at a time. The hull was finished. The mast wasn't. Tiny coils of thread sat in a plastic organizer beside it. I wasn't going to touch your boat. You're looking at it like it insulted you. I'm looking at it like it's 4 feet wide. It's 28 inches. Congratulations. Ellen took Tessa gently by the elbow. Go bring in the rest of your things. Your father and I will figure this out. That was how I found myself clearing my desk while Tessa carried suitcases past the door. I moved the bills to a drawer in the dining room buffet, the model boat to my workbench in the basement, and the tool caddy to the garage. Tessa stood in the middle of the den, directing traffic while answering messages on her phone. Could the filing cabinet go? No. Do you use it? Yes. For what? Filing. She looked at Ellen. Was he always like this? Worse when he was younger? I'm still here, I said. See, Ellen told her. They both laughed. It wasn't a cruel laugh. That almost made it worse. Cruelty you can object to. Familiarity comes with a history. And if you object, everybody acts like you're trying to rewrite it. Tessa brought in a lamp from her car, along with a frame print that said, Do the next right thing in large black letters. That feels judgmental, I said. It's from my office. Did it help? She stopped with the frame in her hands. For 1 second I saw Christmas night again, not the impatient woman at the table, but the one crying into Ellen's shoulder. No, she said, apparently not. She turned the frame face down on the desk. I felt ashamed before anybody asked me to. I'll get you an extension cord, I said. She nodded without looking at me. Ellen followed me into the hall. You don't have to punish her every time she speaks. I made one joke. You knew where to put it. So did you. She folded her arms. You told her I was worse when I was younger. You were. Was that a joke? That was anthropology. I almost smiled. She almost let me. Then Tessa called, Mom, where should I put my shoes? Ellen went to answer. That first night, we made turkey sandwiches because none of us wanted to look at another formal meal. Ellen put potato chips on the table in a wooden salad bowl, and Tessa said Luke hated when people served chips in a bowl because it created unnecessary dishes. She stared at the bowl afterward. I don't know why I said that. Habit, Ellen said. He had a lot of opinions for someone who loaded a dishwasher like a raccoon. He gets that from Frank. I load by water direction, I said. There's a system. There's always a system, Ellen replied. Tessa smiled, but her eyes filled. She put down her sandwich and went upstairs. Ellen started to follow. Let her breathe, I said. She's crying. She knows where we are. You don't have to be hard every minute. I'm not being hard. You told her to work from the house her husband just left. He left. She didn't have to. You're splitting hairs. I'm trying to understand why she needed 6 suitcases for 2 weeks. Ellen pushed back from the table. If you have something to say it, all right? You invited her to move in without asking me. My daughter's marriage is falling apart. Our daughter. Then act like it. That landed cleanly. I looked at the ceiling, toward the room where Tessa used to sleep. When she was 17, she had painted one wall purple without permission, then convinced Ellen I'd agreed to it. I hadn't. I helped her finish the second coat anyway because the first was streaky. What would acting like it look like? I asked, not making her feel unwanted. There's a lot of space between unwanted and giving her my room before she's taken off her coat. It's a den. It's mine. Ellen's mouth opened, then closed. We didn't use words like mine very often. After 41 years, most objects in a marriage lose their borders. Her reading chair was her chair, but I sat in it. My tools were my tools, but she knew which screwdriver to take and never return. The den wasn't important because of its market value. It was important because I could close the door and leave a thought unfinished without finding somebody else's coffee on it. I said 2 weeks, Ellen replied. You said it to me. You didn't say it to her. I'll talk to her. When? When she's not crying. That could be a while. She picked up Tessa's plate. Leave it, I said. She can come back for it. She barely ate. She knows where the kitchen is. Ellen carried it to the counter anyway. In bed, we faced opposite directions, which sounds more dramatic than it is. At our age, sleeping face to face mostly means breathing on each other. I listened to her shift under the blankets. Do you think Luke is coming back? She asked. I don't know. What if he doesn't? Then he doesn't. That's helpful. What do you want me to say? I want you to be worried. I am worried. You don't sound worried. I'm lying in the dark at midnight discussing a marriage that isn't mine. How should I sound? She rolled onto her back. Tessa says Luke just stopped trying. When did she say that? While you were carrying things downstairs. What does stop trying mean? She'd ask him to do something and he'd forget, or he'd do half of it. She had to keep track of everything? Maybe he was unhappy. So, that excuse is checking out? No. You always defend the person who leaves the room. That one wasn't about Luke. I turned toward her back. I'm still in this room. Yes, she said, you are. The next morning, I woke to the smell of coffee and bacon. Ellen hadn't made bacon on a weekday in years. Tessa sat at the kitchen island in sweatpants, reading something on her phone. Her hair was clipped on top of her head, and she wore the pair of old glasses she hated because Luke had once told her they made her look like a disappointed librarian. Ellen slid a plate in front of her. Eat before your first call. I can't eat that much. You used to eat 4 pieces of bacon. I also used to drink peach schnapps. You didn't get that here, I said. Tessa lowered her glasses and looked at me. Dad, you bought me peach schnapps for my 21st birthday. That was ceremonial schnapps. She laughed, a real one. For a few minutes, the 3 of us had breakfast without stepping on anything sharp. Tessa asked about an ache in my shoulder. She remembered the appointment Ellen had scheduled for the following week and told me not to cancel it. Then she noticed Ellen's slippers were splitting along one side. You need new ones? These are fine. Your toe is outside. It likes the air. By lunch, a package was on the porch. Inside were fleece-lined slippers in Ellen's favorite blue. That was Tessa. She could notice a tear in your slipper from across a room and somehow not notice that you had been standing for 6 hours. She worked with the den door shut. Her voice carried anyway. She managed implementation projects for a health insurance company, which seemed to require saying, let's circle back until other people surrendered. Around noon, the door opened. Mom, Ellen was folding towels in the living room. Could you make me one of those turkey melts? Sure. Not too much mustard. I know. And can you bring it in? I'm on calls until 3. Ellen stood. I can make my own, I said. She looked at me. I wasn't offering you one. I gathered that. Tessa had already closed the door. Ellen went into the kitchen. I followed, took out the skillet, and set it on the stove. What are you doing? Making the sandwich, she asked me. She asked the house. She asked her mother. She's 38. She's working. So are you. Ellen opened the refrigerator harder than necessary. Please don't count every favor I do for her. I'm not counting. You're watching. Somebody should. She turned, turkey in one hand and cheese in the other. Don't do that. Do what? Make me the victim in my own kitchen. I stepped back from the stove. She made the sandwich. She cut it diagonally because that was how Tessa liked it, added pickles, and carried it to the den with a glass of iced tea. The plate came back 3 hours later with 1 bite left. On the 4th day, Tessa asked me to look at her desk chair because it was leaning. I tightened the bolts and replaced a cracked washer from a jar in the garage. On the 5th, she heard a grinding noise when she backed her car out. It only does it when it's cold, she said. All sounds only happen when the car feels you can least afford them. Can you look? I did. A heat shield had come loose. I fixed it while she stood in the garage wearing Ellen's new blue slippers because she couldn't find her own shoes. On the 6th day, Ben and Nia came for dinner. Ben went into the den and emerged impressed. Nice setup. Your sister evicted me. It's temporary. So was the income tax. He laughed, then saw I wasn't joking. Come on, Dad. She needs a place to work. She has a house. Nia looked at Tessa. Have you been back? Tessa concentrated on grating cheese. To get clothes. You should probably stay there one night, Ben said carefully. Ellen turned from the stove. Why? Because it's her home. It doesn't feel like one, Tessa said. Nobody had an answer to that. After dinner, I found a broken piece of wood on my basement floor. It was the top section of the model boat's mast, snapped where it had caught against a storage box someone had moved. I carried it upstairs between 2 fingers. Tessa? She was in the den, typing. What? Did you move boxes near the workbench? I needed room for my storage bins. You broke the mast. She glanced at the piece. I didn't know it was there. That's why I asked you not to touch the boat. I didn't touch the boat. The box did? Dad, I'm sorry. Can't you glue it? Of course I could glue it. That wasn't the question. Ellen came to the doorway. What happened? Nothing, Tessa said. The little stick on his boat broke. I looked at her. She took off her glasses and rubbed her eyes. I said I was sorry. You also called it a little stick. What do you want from me? Before I could answer, the doorbell rang. A delivery man stood outside beside 3 long cardboard cartons and a flat black box. Standing desk, he said. Chair mat and monitor arms, too. Tessa appeared behind me. Great. You can put them in the den. I didn't move. That's a lot of equipment for 2 weeks. She folded her arms. I told my office I needed a stable setup for at least 3 months. Ellen's hand settled on my back, gentle and warning. We'll figure it out, she said. Tessa stepped aside so the delivery man could pass. And just like that, 2 weeks became furniture. The delivery man looked from me to Tessa and decided, correctly, that this was not covered by his hourly rate. Where in the den? He asked. Against the window, Tessa said. My desk is against the window. We'll move it. You'll move it? She gave the man an apologetic smile. Just set everything in the hall. He escaped. The boxes blocked the path from the living room to the kitchen. Ellen tried stepping around them with a laundry basket, caught her shin on a corner, and said a word she normally saved for defective pie crust. Tessa came running out of the den. Are you okay? I'm fine. Sit down. Let me see. It's a cardboard box, not a bear attack. Tessa took the laundry basket from her and examined her shin anyway. A pink mark was already forming. I'll get ice. I don't need ice. You bruise easily. I know how I bruise. While they argued about the medical threat posed by office furniture, I read the label on the longest box. It weighed 93 pounds. Does this come with assembly? I asked. Tessa returned with an ice pack wrapped in a dish towel. I thought it did. The man who just fled didn't look like an assembler. I can put it together. Ellen pressed the ice to her leg. Your father will help. My father used to say marriage was mostly 2 people volunteering each other for things. He had been married 3 times, so I should have considered the source. "I'll help get it out of the hall," I said. Tessa smiled like we had reached a broad peace agreement. The standing desk had 14 metal pieces, 6 bags of hardware, and instructions drawn by someone who believed words encouraged weakness. Tessa sat cross-legged on the floor beside me, sorting screws into little rows. "You mix the short bolts with the medium ones," I said. "They're the same length. They are visibly not. They're emotionally the same length." I held them up side by side. She squinted. "That's a manufacturing defect." Despite myself, I laughed. Tessa had always liked building things with me. At 10, she'd helped me put shelves in her closet and insisted on operating the drill. At 19, she assembled an entire bookcase backward, then blamed the wall for being on the wrong side. She wasn't careless. She was impatient with any step that failed to resemble progress. She took the Allen wrench from me. Luke would have abandoned this after 10 minutes. Maybe he read the instructions. He once mounted a toilet paper holder upside down. How? Exactly. She tightened a bolt until the metal squeaked. "Easy. It's not going anywhere. Neither is the bolt after you strip it." She loosened her grip. We worked for nearly an hour without discussing her marriage, my den, or the fact that the desk was a declaration disguised as furniture. When we turned it upright, she tested the motor. The desktop rose with a low electric hum. Her face brightened. "That's pretty nice. It's a desk that stands up. You say that like you didn't spend $1,800 on a riding mower because it had cup holders. It has 1 cup holder, and you told Mom it was a safety feature. A hydrated operator is an alert operator." She laughed again. Then she looked at my old desk by the window. "We need to move that." The word we hung there. My desk was nothing special. Oak veneer, scratched at one corner, too many drawers. Ellen had found it at an estate sale 20 years earlier and talked the owner down $40 because one handle was missing. I'd made a replacement in the garage. "It can go against the other wall," Tessa said. "The filing cabinet is there." "Can the cabinet go in the basement?" "No. Then the desk can. I'm not putting a wooden desk in a damp basement. The basement isn't damp. You told your mother it smelled damp last summer. That was because you were drying onions down there. They were curing." She stood and put both hands on her hips. "Where do you want me to work?" "Your house." The brightness went out of her face. I wished I could pull the sentence back. Not because it was untrue, but because I'd waited until she was happy to use it. "I'll move the desk into our bedroom," I said. "That's not what I asked. It solves the problem. It tells me exactly how much you resent me being here. It tells you I want a place to pay the water bill. You keep making this about a room. You keep pretending it isn't." Ellen appeared at the door, no ice pack in sight. "Tessa, why don't you take a break? Because I have work tomorrow. And Frank, stop saying your house like you're sending her to a condemned building." "I didn't condemn it. Luke did." Tessa flinched. Ellen looked at me with open disgust. That was new. Ellen had been angry with me hundreds of times. Anger still recognizes the person in front of it. Disgust looks through him. Tessa picked up her coat and car keys. "I need to get my printer." "I'll come with you," Ellen said. "No." "Your leg hurts. My leg is fine." I said no. Tessa walked out. The front door closed hard enough to rattle an ornament on the tree. Ellen went to the window and watched her back out. "That was unnecessary," she said. "I know." She turned, apparently unprepared for agreement. I looked at the half-assembled monitor arm on the floor. "I'll go make sure she's all right. She doesn't want you. I'm familiar with the feeling. Don't." I got my coat. Tessa's car was still at the curb. She sat behind the wheel with both hands at 10 and 2, staring straight ahead. I tapped on the passenger window. She unlocked the door without looking at me. "You don't have to come. I know." "Mom sent you." She tried to stop me. That got a small breath that might have been a laugh. I climbed in. The drive to Tessa and Luke's house took 12 minutes. They lived in a development where every street curved for no reason, and every house was one of 4 colors selected to avoid giving offense. Tessa parked in the driveway but didn't shut off the engine. "What if he's there? Is that dangerous?" "No." She sounded offended. "Luke would never hurt me." "Then what?" "I don't want to see him." "I can get the printer." "You don't know which one." "How many printers do you own?" 2. "Of course you do." She finally turned off the car. Inside, the house was quiet and too warm. A pair of Luke's boots sat on the mat. Tessa stopped when she saw them. He came back. Maybe he needs boots. He has other boots. I followed her into the kitchen. A mug stood in the sink. One mug. Beside it was a spoon with peanut butter on it. Tessa stared at the spoon. He does that. What? Leaves peanut butter on utensils. It turns into cement. You should contact the authorities. She opened her mouth to snap at me, then covered her face with both hands. I waited. I know how it sounds, she said through her fingers. It sounds like a spoon. It's never the spoon. That, at least, I understood. The refrigerator was covered in magnets, photographs, and a dry erase calendar written entirely in Tessa's handwriting. Appointments, dinner plans, trash night, a reminder to order furnace filters. Luke's name appeared 3 times, each followed by a question mark. He says, I manage him, she said. Do you? I manage our life because he won't. She took the printer from a cabinet beneath the counter. It was large enough to require both arms. He says I don't ask, I assign. Do you? Whose side are you on? I didn't know there were sides yet. There are always sides. People just lie about it until they need something. The front door opened. Luke walked into the kitchen carrying a paper bag. He saw us and stopped. I thought you were at work. I forgot my printer, Tessa said. You don't need permission. I didn't ask for permission. I didn't say you did. They had managed an argument in 3 sentences without raising their voices. Luke set the bag on the counter. It contained socks and 2 bottles of shampoo. He nodded at me. Frank, Luke. Tessa adjusted the printer in her arms. Are you staying here now? No. Then why are your boots here? I switched them. You couldn't do that when I wasn't here? I didn't know you'd be here. You could have texted. You told me not to contact you for 3 days. I meant about us. Luke looked at me. Not for help. More like a man noticing he had acquired an audience after the play started. I'll take the printer to the car, I said. No, Tessa replied. She put it back on the counter. Are you going to the appointment Thursday? Luke's jaw shifted. Yes. You didn't confirm. I just did. You were supposed to confirm with her office, not me. I did that too. When? This morning, so you can answer an email. Tessa. What? I'm glad. You don't sound glad. Apparently I have a tone problem now. You have a hearing problem. She went very still. Luke's eyes closed for a second. That came out wrong. No, it didn't. She grabbed the printer and walked toward the front door. I followed, but Luke called my name. Tessa kept going. Luke stood beside the kitchen counter, both hands braced on the edge. I'm not trying to hurt her, he said. She's hurt. I know. Then maybe give her more than corrections. He gave me a strange, tired smile. You think I haven't? I looked toward the doorway. Tessa had left it open, and cold air was pushing across the floor. Luke glanced at the dry erase calendar. I used to think all those lists meant she cared, he said. Maybe they do. Maybe. He picked up the peanut butter spoon and ran it under the faucet. Tell Ellen I'm sorry about Christmas. Tell her yourself. I will. He washed the spoon until it was clean, dried it, and put it carefully in the drawer. On the drive back, Tessa balanced the printer on the passenger floor and kept her eyes on the road. He makes me sound insane. He didn't say much. That's how he does it. He stays calm until I look like the only angry person in the room. I watched houses pass outside the window. You do that too, she said. Do what? Go quiet and let Mom carry all the noise. I turned toward her. She stared ahead. You think you're easy because you don't ask for much, she continued, but somebody still has to notice what you need. Somebody still has to keep the whole house from sinking into silence. The printer shifted when she turned into our street. I caught it with my foot. At home, Ellen met us at the door. Did you see him? Tessa nodded. How was he? He washed a spoon. Ellen looked at me for translation. I'll bring in the printer, I said. That evening, after Tessa went upstairs, Ellen and I moved my desk into our bedroom. It fit between the dresser and the window, if we took out the chair where she sat to put on her shoes. She ran her hand across the scratched corner. You'll be in my way here. I know, I didn't ask you to move it. You didn't ask me before she moved in. Ellen looked toward the hall. Then, very softly, she said, Christmas didn't begin when you noticed my plate, Frank. She walked out before I could ask what she meant. I found her in the kitchen wrapping turkey in foil. What did you mean? She pressed the foil around the plate without answering. Ellen, I meant Christmas didn't suddenly become a problem because you looked up from your dinner. I wasn't eating. That year, she opened the refrigerator and slid the plate inside. There were already 4 containers in there, each labeled with masking tape in her handwriting. "Which year should we talk about?" she asked. "The year you spent Christmas Eve fixing the porch railing? It was loose. Everybody survived. You asked me to fix it. I mentioned it was loose in October. So I was late. You were busy. I understand. You were always busy with something that had a beginning, an end, and a tool you could hold." I leaned against the counter. What was I supposed to do? That question. Right there. What question? What was I supposed to do? You've been asking me that for 40 years. You walk into a kitchen full of work and ask me to find you a job. Then I have to stop what I'm doing, figure out what you won't ruin, show you where it is, and answer 6 questions while you do it. I don't ruin things. You put cinnamon in the deviled eggs. The containers looked alike. They did not. It was dark in the pantry. It was 2 in the afternoon. I folded my arms. You're using one egg incident to erase decades of competent labor. I'm not erasing your labor, Frank. I'm saying it always came with clean edges. The car was broken, and then it wasn't. The shelf was crooked, and then it wasn't. Christmas dinner never ends. Nobody finishes a holiday. They just leave, and I wash it. Her voice remained even. That made me listen harder. "So, you're angry I noticed?" "I'm angry you noticed in a way that made me responsible for your noticing. I put food in front of you, and then you stared until I ate it. Because you hadn't eaten. Because I was serving dinner, to everybody except yourself. Yes." She slapped one palm lightly against the counter. "I know. I was there." The house creaked upstairs. Tessa's footsteps crossed the hall, then started down. Ellen lowered her voice. "You looked at me like I'd been found in a ditch, in front of everyone. I looked at you like somebody should care. I needed help, not an audience." Tessa appeared in the doorway wearing one of Ellen's old bathrobes. "Should I go back upstairs?" "Yes," I said. "No," Ellen said at the same time. Tessa opened a cabinet and took out a glass. "Good. Clarity." "This isn't about you," Ellen told her. Tessa filled the glass at the sink. "Everything in this house is about me now. Dad has been clear. I have not. You asked me to work from the house Luke left. I pointed out that it exists. See?" Ellen rubbed her forehead. Tessa drank half the water in one swallow. Without makeup, with her hair loose and the robe sleeves hanging past her hands, she looked younger than she had at dinner. Not young, just less armored. "I'm sorry about Christmas," she said. Ellen dropped her hand. "I shouldn't have told you to hurry." "No, you shouldn't have." Tessa nodded, absorbing that. "I was nervous about telling you and Dad. Luke had barely spoken to me all day. I knew something was coming, and I wanted dinner to be normal. "So you yelled at your mother about butter?" I asked. She looked at me. I apologized to her. "I heard you. Did it meet your standards?" "Tessa," Ellen said. "No, I want to know. I keep getting the feeling there's an exam I didn't study for. You're staying in my den for 3 months after saying 2 weeks. I didn't say 2 weeks. Mom did." Ellen and I both went quiet. Tessa set the glass in the sink. For what it's worth, I thought I'd be home by then. She went upstairs. The next morning, I made eggs. I didn't announce it. I didn't wear an apron or ask Ellen where she kept the skillet. I had lived in that house since 1989. I knew where the skillet was. I broke one yolk and got shell in another. Those things happen to competent people. When Ellen came down, 2 plates were on the table. She looked at them, then at me. "What's this?" "Eggs. I can see that. I'm glad. I was worried about the lighting. You don't have to prove anything. I'm hungry. You made mine exactly the way I like them. I've watched you eat eggs before." She sat suspicious of breakfast. Tessa came in carrying her laptop. "Are there more?" "No," I said. Ellen shot me a look. "What?" Tessa asked. "I made 2. I can make my own." "Okay." She waited half a second, perhaps expecting one of us to surrender a plate. Neither of us did. Then she took out the skillet, found a bowl, and made scrambled eggs. She added too much milk. I said nothing. At the table, Ellen ate while her food was hot. That should have felt like a victory. Instead, it felt like I had placed a measuring device between us and was waiting to see whether she passed. After breakfast, Tessa called from the den. "Dad," I was carrying my plate to the sink. "What?" "Can you come here?" The monitor arms lay across the new desk beside a pile of cables. I need these mounted before 9. You need help mounting them before 9. She closed her eyes briefly. Yes. I need help mounting them before 9. Then say that. I just did. After I supplied the middle of the sentence. Can we do the family therapy after the hardware? Ellen passed the doorway with her coffee. Be nice, she told both of us. Tessa and I mounted the first monitor together. She held the bracket while I tightened the clamp. Halfway through the second, her computer chimed. I have to take this. You said 9. They moved it. She put on a headset and clicked into a call. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm having a little home office chaos. I waited for her to mute herself. Are we finishing this? She waved toward the monitor as though releasing me to perform. I set down the wrench. I'll come back when you're done. Her eyes widened. She muted the call. I need it now. Then tell them you need 5 minutes. I can't tell 12 people to wait while I install a monitor. You expected me to wait. I'm not paying you. That's one of the things I noticed. Her face colored. On the screen, squares began filling with people. Tessa unmuted herself and smiled at them. Good morning. Let's get started. I left the monitor lying face down on the desk. 20 minutes later, I heard metal clatter, followed by a word Ellen normally saved for pie crust. Tessa had tried to install the arm while listening to her call and dropped the clamp on her foot. She finished it herself. It leaned slightly to the left for 3 days before I came in with a level. I did not fix it. I showed her how. Thursday's appointment with Luke lasted less than an hour. Tessa returned pale and furious, dropped her purse on the kitchen floor, and asked whether we had any wine. It's 1:30, Ellen said. Then give me the Christmas coffee. Ellen reached for the cinnamon. What happened? I asked. He wants to separate without deciding how long. What did you want? A plan. That tracks, I said. Tessa looked at me. Sorry, no, you're not. No, but I recognize poor timing. Ellen set a mug in front of her. Did he say why? He said he needs space to know what he wants. What does that mean? Ellen asked. It means he gets a little apartment in peace and quiet while I sit here wondering if I'm married. You're still married, I said. That is not the comforting fact you think it is. She wrapped both hands around the mug. He said, I make every conversation feel like a performance review. Then he spent 40 minutes listing my faults, which apparently is different because his voice stayed calm. I sat across from her. Did he list any of his? He said he avoids conflict. That was his fault. He avoids conflict because I'm exhausting. Did he use that word? No. He said intense. Different word. Same invoice. Ellen stroked Tessa's hair away from her cheek. Tessa leaned into the touch, eyes closing. I got bread from the pantry and made grilled cheese for all 3 of us. I burned one side. We ate it anyway. By Sunday, Ben had decided dinner at our house would help. He arrived with a bottle of wine. Nia came behind him carrying a salad and a bakery box. I told him to bring a vegetable, she said. Wine is grapes, Ben replied. Your mother is not cooking every meal for you because you can identify produce. Ellen took the salad from Nia. I like cooking. I like sleeping, Nia said. I don't do it for 6 people. Ben went to inspect Tessa's office. When he came back, he said, That setup is nicer than mine. Take it home, I said. Dad, Tessa warned. What? It's portable. Ask the delivery man. Ben sat beside me. You're retired. Why do you need an office? I'm retired, not deceased. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? He glanced at Ellen for rescue. She was carrying a casserole to the table and pretended not to see. Nia set down forks. You walked into that one, she told him. Dinner was quieter than Christmas, but followed much the same geography. Ellen rose for more napkins, then more water, then the mustard. Ben had suddenly decided he needed. When she returned with it, I hadn't touched my food. You don't need to wait, she said. I'm not starting until you sit. Everyone heard. Ellen lowered the mustard to the table. Frank, please eat. I will. Stop watching me. I'm looking at you. Exactly. She sat, but her face had closed. After dinner, Nia joined me at the sink while the others moved into the living room. You know she thinks you don't like her, she said. Ellen, Tessa, I love Tessa. Nia rinsed a plate. That wasn't what I said. Through the doorway, I could see my daughter on the couch with her head against Ellen's shoulder, and Ben opening the wine he had brought too late for dinner. I don't like how she treats her mother. Nia handed me the plate. Maybe make sure you're talking to her then, not just prosecuting her through Ellen. Before I could answer, Ellen called from the living room. Frank, can you bring in the bakery box? It was on the counter beside her empty dinner plate. I picked up both. When I carried them in, she took the box and left the plate in my hands. After Ben and Nia left, I loaded the dishwasher. Ellen stood at the counter, wrapping the extra cake Nia had brought. You did it again, she said. What? Sat there refusing to eat until I sat down. I wasn't refusing. I was waiting. You made everyone watch me. Everyone was already watching you carry things. No, they weren't. They were having dinner. That's the problem. She set the plastic wrap down. Why can't you help without turning on a spotlight? I brought in dessert. After I asked you. You told me to learn what you need. Now you're mad I waited for you. I'm mad because you've decided my chair is the center of a protest I never joined. I closed the dishwasher. What would help look like then? I don't know. You just said I need to learn. Learn. Don't make me draw you a map. That seems designed to produce another cinnamon egg. Her mouth twitched, but she refused the smile. I need you to stop treating every meal like evidence, she said. And I need you to stop using me to fight with Tessa. I'm not. You don't tell her you're angry, you make a comment about me, then wait for her to understand she failed some test. Nia had said almost the same thing. That many people can't be wrong at once, I muttered. What? Nothing? No. Tell me. I said I'll talk to her directly. Ellen looked immediately worried, which was discouraging. Not tonight. Why? She's had a hard day. She ate casserole and drank 2 glasses of wine. Exactly. There was never going to be a good time. Tessa's mornings belonged to work, her afternoons to work recovering from the morning, and her evenings to the destruction of her marriage. I'd spent most of my life waiting for women to tell me when a conversation could safely happen. Then I blamed them when it didn't. I found her in the den the next morning before her first call. She had raised the standing desk and was walking slowly on a compact treadmill while reading email. The monitor she'd mounted leaned left. The one we mounted together sat straight. Do you have a minute? She tapped a button and the treadmill slowed. I have 6. I heard you think I don't like you. Her hand froze over the controls. Who told you that? Does it matter? Nia. I'm not naming witnesses. It was Nia. Fine. Tessa stepped off the treadmill. This is a strange way to start a Monday. Would Tuesday be better? No day would be better. I like you. She laughed once. I do. You love me. That's different. How? You have to love me. You raised me. Nobody has to like anyone they raised. You're proving my point. I took the chair opposite the desk. When you were 8, you put peanut butter in your brother's shoes. He broke my cassette player. You liked him, I wanted him to suffer. Both can be true. Tessa sat on the edge of the treadmill. I know you love me, Dad. But you prefer me when I'm useful or funny or not asking for anything. That sounds like Luke talking. It sounds like me listening. I let that sit. You've asked for my den, an office chair repair, a car repair, a monitor installation, and storage space in the basement. I didn't ask for the car repair. You offered. You said, can you look? That's not the same as fix it. It is in every garage in America. She rubbed her forehead. See, this is why I don't talk to you. You keep receipts. You accuse me of liking you only when you don't need anything. Because every favor comes with a speech now. Every favor comes after a command. I don't command you. You point. You call from rooms. You phrase things so a refusal sounds like a breach of family law. Dad, do you hear yourself? Yes. That's new for all of us. She stared at me. I leaned forward. I love you. I like you. I also don't like how you speak to your mother when you want something. Mom speaks to me the same way. She does not. She absolutely does. She tells me what to wear, when to eat, who to call, what I should say to my own husband. She asked me if I'd had a bowel movement yesterday. That's love after 60. It's control with a casserole. I laughed before I could stop myself. Tessa smiled too, reluctantly. Look, I said, you can stay. But while you're here, ask instead of calling orders from another room. Handle your dishes and laundry. If you use something, put it back. Does Mom know about these rules? She will. That means no. It means I'm talking to you first. Her treadmill chirped. I have 2 minutes. Can you do that? Yes. Say it like you're not accepting terms on behalf of a hostile nation. I can do that, Dad. Thank you. She reached for her headset. And I'm sorry about the boat. I paused at the door. It can be glued. That wasn't the question, right? No. She nodded. When I told Ellen about the conversation, she listened with her lips pressed together. You gave her rules? I asked her to clean up after herself. She's not 12. That's why I expect it to work. You should have talked to me first. You told me to talk directly to her. I meant about how you felt, not household policy. She agreed. Of course she agreed. She thinks you want her gone. I told her she could stay. That doesn't erase everything else. I looked at the clock. You have to take me to my shoulder appointment. Ellen looked at the clock too. You said it was Tuesday. It is Tuesday. She checked the calendar on her phone, then pressed her fingertips to her eyes. Damn it. What? I have a dental cleaning at the same time. You scheduled both? Your appointment got moved, remember? I did not remember. Cancel mine, I said. No, it took 6 weeks to get. I can drive myself. With your right shoulder, I drive with 2 arms. You can't even reach behind the seat. I don't usually drive backward while facing forward. Tessa came out of the den carrying her water bottle. I'll take him. You're working, Ellen said. I can move lunch. You don't have to. Tessa looked at me. Do you want me to? It was deliberately phrased. We both knew it. Yes, please. Okay. She drove my truck because getting into her car made my shoulder complain. At the clinic, she stayed in the waiting room with her laptop while I was examined, rotated, pressed, and given a page of exercises by a man young enough to describe stiffness as interesting. When I came out, Tessa had bought me a bottle of water from the vending machine. What did he say? Shoulder impingement, exercises, nothing exciting. Are you supposed to lift? Not overhead. Did he say how much weight? He said, don't be stupid. So, you're looking for a second opinion. I handed her the exercise sheet. On the drive home, she asked if I needed help taking off my coat. I told her I wasn't 90. Then I needed help taking off my coat. She didn't make a joke. At the next light, I said, I prefer you when you're funny. I knew it. But I like you the rest of the time, too. Her eyes stayed on the road. Even now? Less right now? She smiled. When we got home, Ellen was in the basement. I heard the washing machine running and went down to put away the tool caddy I'd left near the stairs. A pile of Tessa's clothes sat on the folding table. Ellen was matching socks. I stopped halfway across the room. She agreed to do her own laundry. Ellen didn't look up. They were already in the machine. They climbed in. She started a load and forgot it. I moved it to the dryer and folded it. It was dry. So is my lumber. I don't fold that. She matched another pair of socks. Don't make this into something. What is it? Laundry. Then why didn't you leave it? Because it would wrinkle. It's sweatpants. She has enough going on. So do you. I'm standing in my own basement folding 6 shirts. Stop acting like I'm being worked to death. That's not what I said. You don't have to say it anymore. You just walk in and look at me. I set down the tool caddy. Are you doing this for Tessa or for yourself? Her hands stopped. What does that mean? She didn't ask you. You wanted to do it. I wanted her to have clean clothes. She had clean clothes. You wanted to be the reason. Ellen's expression hardened. You don't get to diagnose me because you made eggs twice. I'm trying to understand. No, you're trying to win. She gathered the folded clothes into the basket. Win what? The right to be the one who sees me best. She carried the basket upstairs. I stayed in the basement with a single blue sock she had dropped. That evening, Tessa came into the kitchen wearing a freshly folded sweater. Mom said you had rules. I spoke to you about them. You didn't tell me she disagreed. I didn't know she disagreed. She says she doesn't. Then why are we discussing it? Because she cried while she put my clothes away. I looked toward the living room. Ellen sat with a book open, though she hadn't turned a page since I came in. I didn't ask her to do my laundry, Tessa said. I know. Did you accuse her of wanting me here because she needs to feel useful? Not in those words. That means yes. Tessa lowered her voice. You think you're protecting her, but you're making her feel ashamed of the only thing she thinks she's good at. That's not the only thing she's good at. I know that. Does she? The doorbell rang. Ellen closed her book. Tessa's face changed before any of us moved, as if she already knew. Luke stood on the porch with his hands in his coat pockets. I texted, he said, when Tessa opened the door. My phone was upstairs. I need the black suitcase and some mail. Tessa stepped back. Luke looked past her at me, then at Ellen. "I won't be long." He went upstairs. Tessa followed. Their voices stayed low at first. Ellen walked into the kitchen and began wiping an already clean counter. I picked up the blue sock from where I'd left it beside the fruit bowl. "You dropped this." She took it without looking at me. Upstairs, a door closed hard. Luke came down alone, carrying the suitcase. At the front door, he hesitated. "Can I talk to you outside, Frank?" Tessa appeared at the top of the stairs. "About what?" Luke looked up at her. "Not everything is about you." The sentence landed so hard even he seemed startled by it. Tessa gripped the banister. Luke stepped onto the porch. I followed and pulled the door shut behind me. Cold wind moved through the bare trees. He set the suitcase beside his car. "I need you to understand something," he said. "I didn't leave because she asks too much." "Then why did you leave?" "Because nothing I did ever stayed done." "What does that mean?" Luke looked toward the house. Light from the living room window fell across the porch, but the curtains kept us from seeing who stood behind them. "It means if I cleaned the kitchen, she'd come in and rearrange it. If I made a reservation, she'd call to confirm it. If I bought groceries, she'd ask why I chose that store. If I fixed something, she'd test it." "You left your peanut butter spoon in the sink." Luke blinked. "What? I saw it. That's what she told you?" "She didn't tell me. I was there." He laughed, but there wasn't much humor in it. "Of course you saw the spoon. It would have taken 10 seconds to wash." "You're right." The quick agreement threw me. "You're right," he repeated. "I should wash a spoon when I use it. I should answer texts. I should remember furnace filters. I should do 100 things I got worse at doing, because every time I failed, she became more certain I'd fail again." That sounds convenient. It was. He rubbed his hands together against the cold. I started waiting for her to tell me what she wanted. Then I hated how she told me. She started checking everything because I stopped taking initiative. I stopped taking initiative because she checked everything. So you punished each other until somebody moved out. Pretty much. You could have said something. I said plenty. Did you say it before you were already angry? Luke looked at me. That sounds like Ellen. I've heard worse. He leaned against his car. Tessa didn't become like this because she's mean. She's scared all the time. Of what? That if she doesn't hold everything up, it falls. Did it? Some of it. The answer was more honest than I wanted. "I miss things," he said. "I forgot her birthday dinner reservation one year. I told myself we'd make it up the next night, like the date was the only part that mattered. When her dad had surgery, my knee. Right. When you had your knee done, she made a schedule for meals and rides. I made fun of the spreadsheet, then forgot the night I was supposed to bring dinner. I don't remember that, because Ellen fed you." The porch seemed colder. Luke looked down at the suitcase. "I wasn't carrying everything while Tessa stood around. I don't want you thinking that. She carried more. Then she started carrying things before I could reach them, and I was relieved. That's the part she doesn't know. You should tell her. I did today. How'd she take it?" "You heard the door. I looked toward the window. You asked to speak to me, so I'd do what?" "I don't know. Don't put me between you. I'm not." "You brought your suitcase to my porch and explained your marriage." He nodded slowly. "Fair. Talk to Tessa, or don't. But don't make me the safe person because I'm standing outside." Luke opened his trunk. "See, that's the difference between you and me." "What is?" "You still think standing outside means you're not involved." He lifted the suitcase into the trunk, shut it, and drove away. When I went inside, Tessa was waiting in the hall. What did he say? That he's tired. He already said that. Then I have no new information. Her eyes narrowed. "You talked for 10 minutes. It was 3. What did he say about me?" "Ask him." "I did ask him." "Then believe what he told you or don't. I'm not translating." She followed me into the kitchen. "He wanted you on his side." I told him there aren't sides. "You told me that too. It's what people say when they're choosing quietly." Ellen stood near the sink, holding the blue sock as if she'd forgotten what it was. "Tessa, let it go." "No. Dad started this whole campaign because I told you to hurry, but Luke gets to explain himself privately on our porch." "It's not your porch," I said. The second the words left my mouth, I knew what I'd done. Tessa's face went blank. "Ellen said my name?" "I meant the conversation happened here," I said. "I wasn't saying you don't belong." "Sure." "Tessa." She went upstairs. Ellen threw the sock at me. It hit my chest and fell to the floor. Excellent work, I corrected myself. You can't correct everything after you say it. Apparently that runs in the family. She walked away. The next morning, nobody wanted eggs. I made oatmeal, which was harder to ruin and easier to abandon. Ellen ate hers standing at the counter. I didn't tell her to sit. That restraint felt ridiculous, like being congratulated for not touching a wet paint sign. Tessa came down with her headset around her neck, filled a travel mug, and left without breakfast. Where's she going? I asked. Her house. To stay? To get clothes. She brought 6 suitcases. She needs work clothes. She works 10 feet from our couch. Ellen snapped the lid onto the sugar bowl. She has dinner with Luke tomorrow. I thought they were separated. Separated people can eat. I've seen it. She gave me a tired look. Try not to make a comment when she comes back. I'll put a cinnamon egg in my mouth. She smiled despite herself. For several days, the house settled into an arrangement nobody admitted was permanent. Tessa worked behind the den door. My desk crowded our bedroom. Ellen moved around both of us, replacing toilet paper, wiping counters, making grocery lists, and asking questions nobody had asked her to ask. I tried to notice work before it turned into a request. I bought groceries without calling from the store. I came home with the wrong yogurt, the wrong coffee filters, and cilantro instead of parsley. They were beside each other, I said. They don't even look alike, Ellen replied. They're both leaves. Poison ivy is leaves. I didn't buy poison ivy. You'd have called to ask. She held up the yogurt. This is vanilla. Yes. I eat plain. That sounds like a punishment. She put it in the refrigerator. I'll use it in something. That was Ellen's answer to most errors. She would use them in something. Yogurt, leftover ham, disappointment. The next afternoon, Tessa called from the den. Dad? I was at the dining table doing my shoulder exercises with a rubber band hooked around a chair leg. Dad, the printer isn't connecting. I kept counting. Did you hear me? Yes. A moment later, she appeared in the doorway. Can you look at the printer? I'm doing this. It'll take you 2 minutes. Then it'll take you 2 minutes. I don't know what's wrong. Neither do I. You always know. That's flattering. Still no. She stared at the rubber band. Is this about calling from another room? It's about me saying no. Her expression shifted. Not anger exactly, confusion. I had almost never said no to a practical problem. If somebody in the family called because a shelf leaned or an engine clicked, I arrived with tools. It was how I kept my membership current. When will you be done? She asked. 10 minutes. Can you help then? Yes. By the time I finished, the printer was working. The cable was loose, she said. Sounds serious. I pushed it in. Brave. She rolled her eyes, but she smiled. The change did not make me popular. Ben came by on Saturday while I was in the garage repairing the model boat's mast. He stood at the workbench, hands in his jacket pockets, and watched me fit a thin wooden brace behind the brake. Nia says I'm supposed to ask before borrowing your socket set. You own a socket set. Mine's missing a 14. It's in your trunk under the jumper cables. He considered that. You've been in my trunk. I helped you replace a taillight in November. Right. He shifted his weight. Tessa says you told her she doesn't belong here. I told her the porch wasn't hers. That sounds similar. I corrected it. She heard the first part. I held the mast in place until the glue caught. What do you want, Ben? For you to ease up. On what? All these rules. The dishes, the laundry, making her ask correctly. She's a grown woman staying in our house. She's your daughter whose husband left. They separated. Whatever. You know what I mean? Yes. You mean everybody should act however they want until Luke comes home. I mean, Mom doesn't mind helping her. You don't know what your mother minds. Neither do you. I looked up. Ben rarely confronted me. As a boy, he'd brought his worst mistakes to Ellen because he thought I'd be angry. He brought the expensive ones to me because he knew I'd fix them. He rested both hands on the workbench. You were always the easy parent, he said. I was not. You absolutely were. Mom said no, then you took us for ice cream because you didn't want us mad at you. That happened once. It happened constantly. She made us do homework. She remembered thank you notes. She had the talks. You fixed our bikes and acted surprised when we had bad manners. I worked 10-hour days. So did she. She worked part-time. At a job, then she came home. I set down the mast. Did Tessa send you? No, Nia did. That woman is becoming dangerous. She said I should tell you why I was actually mad instead of pretending I needed a socket. And why are you mad? Because now you're acting like Mom created this whole problem by doing too much. You liked her doing too much. It made you the good guy. He picked up the repaired mast, examined it, and set it down carefully. Also, my 14 isn't in the trunk. It is. Fine. He left without borrowing mine. That night I told Ellen what Ben had said. She sat on the edge of our bed, moving my envelopes off her chair so she could put on her shoes. He's right, I said. About the socket? About me. She tied one shoe. I made you enforce everything, then acted like your rules appeared naturally in the house. You worked. So did you. I know. I'm sorry. She tied the other shoe. Don't apologize because Ben gave you a speech in the garage. I'm apologizing because it's true. She stood. Then do something with it. Like what? Her eyes met mine in the mirror. Learn without asking me to assign the lesson. She went downstairs. A minute later, I heard Tessa call from the den. Mom, can you bring me the blue charger from upstairs? I'm about to get on a call. Ellen's footsteps started toward the staircase. Then Tessa opened the den door. No, she said. Sorry, I'll get it. She passed Ellen in the hall and went upstairs herself. Ellen stood still, one hand resting on the banister. When she saw me watching from the bedroom doorway, she dropped her hand. Don't, she said. I didn't know whether she meant don't stare, don't congratulate, or don't take this from me, too. So, I went back into the bedroom and closed the door. I didn't close it gently. The picture on our dresser tipped forward and struck the glass with a quiet tap. It was a photograph of Ellen and me at Ben's wedding, both of us laughing at something outside the frame. I set it upright, then moved a stack of envelopes so I could sit at my own desk. The chair blocked Ellen's dresser drawer. When she came up to change for bed, she pulled the drawer against its back and stopped. You're in the way. I know. She looked at the desk, the envelopes, the chair where she used to put on her shoes. I hate this in here. So do I. Then move it where? She yanked the drawer harder. It opened 3 inches. I don't know. I stood and moved the chair. She took out a nightgown and shut the drawer with her hip. Tessa got her charger herself, I said. I was there. That's good. She's been apologizing every time she asked me a question. She'll find the middle. You don't know that. I know she found a charger. Ellen changed in the bathroom and closed the door. Tessa's dinner with Luke was the following night. She came home from work calls at 4:30 and changed clothes 3 times. Each rejected outfit landed across the guest room bed upstairs, where she slept. She finally appeared in the kitchen wearing black pants and a dark red sweater. Too much? She asked. Ellen turned from the sink. For dinner? Yes. Where are you going? The Italian place on Hawthorne. That sweater is good. I wore it the night we got engaged. Ellen's face softened. Then it's perfect. I don't want it to look deliberate. It is deliberate. That doesn't mean it should look deliberate. I was at the table reading the instructions for my shoulder exercises. Wear the green one, I said. Both women looked at me. The green what? Tessa asked. Sweater? You know my sweaters? You left them drying over the upstairs railing. The green one makes me look tired. You are tired. Ellen gave me a look. What? Luke has seen her tired. This was a mistake, Tessa said. The red is lovely, Ellen assured her. Do you want my earrings? The little gold ones? I'll get them. Ellen went upstairs. Tessa leaned against the counter. I know you think this is pathetic. I don't. You think I should sit alone in my house until my personality improves. I don't think your personality is the whole problem. Generous. I folded the exercise sheet. What do you want from tonight? For him to come home. What does he want? Space. Those plans may conflict. She picked at the polish on her thumbnail. We were good, Dad. I know. You saw us. I saw dinners and holidays. That isn't a marriage. Her eyes moved toward the living room, where Ellen's voice floated from upstairs as she searched for earrings. No, Tessa said, it isn't. Ellen returned with a small velvet box and helped fasten the earrings. Tessa held still while her mother moved her hair aside. Watching them, I could see why Ellen had gone after her every time she cried. There was a tenderness in being allowed to help someone who used to need you for everything. The danger was that nobody announced when tenderness turned into permission. Tessa left at 5:30. Ellen watched from the front window. Don't wait there, I said. I'm closing the curtain. You've opened it twice. I'm checking the weather. The weather is dark. She let the curtain fall. We ate leftover soup at the kitchen table. Ellen checked her phone 11 times. At 8:15, she texted Tessa to ask whether everything was all right. That guarantees it isn't, I said. She doesn't have to answer. She will. Tessa did not. At 8:40, Ellen began wiping the stove. At 9:10, headlights crossed the living room wall. Ellen was at the door before Tessa had turned off the car. Our daughter came inside without the red sweater. She carried it wadded beneath one arm and wore a thin black camisole despite the cold. The gold earrings were gone. "What happened?" Ellen asked. "Nothing." "Where are my earrings?" "In my purse." "Why is your sweater off?" "The restaurant was hot." "It's 24 degrees outside. I know how cold it is." She dropped her purse on the bench. The earrings were visible in the open side pocket. I remained in the living room. "Did you eat?" Ellen asked. "Can nobody ask me that for one night?" "Fine. I'm sorry. Fine." Tessa kicked off her shoes and sat on the bottom stair. "He's not coming back." Ellen sat beside her. "Did he say that?" "He said not now," which is what people say when they want you to wait without blaming them for making you wait. "What happened at dinner?" I asked. Tessa looked at me. "He apologized to Mom." Ellen's hand paused on her back. "For Christmas," Tessa said. "He said he should have spoken up when I told you to hurry." "He didn't need to apologize," Ellen replied. "He also said Dad was right. I didn't talk to him about Christmas. You talked to him about something. He explained why he left. You swore you weren't translating. I'm not. He said our marriage had the same problem as this family." The word "this" came with a sweep of her hand that included the stairs, the living room, Ellen, and me. "He said everyone loves Mom for what she does, and I do the same thing to him." Ellen's hand dropped. "That's not fair," she said. "No, it's not. He shouldn't compare you to—" "To what? You?" I was going to say us. "You didn't have to. Dad's been making the comparison for weeks." "I have not. You made household rules because I asked for sandwiches. You asked for more than sandwiches. There it is." Ellen stood. "Not tonight." "No," Tessa said. "I want him to say it. What exactly have I done that's so terrible? The problem isn't one terrible thing. That sounds familiar. You call for your mother from other rooms. You leave dishes. You moved into my den without asking. You let her clean up after you, then say she wanted to. She does want to. That doesn't mean you should let her." Ellen stepped between us. "Stop talking about me like I'm not here." Tessa looked at her. "Do you want me here?" "Yes." "Do you want to help me?" "Yes." She turned back to me. "Then, whose problem is this?" "Mine," I said. "Because I live here too." "There. Finally?" "Finally? What?" "You don't care how I treat Mom. You care that I took your room." I stood. Both can be true. Her face changed. I had used my peanut butter shoe answer, but it wasn't funny now. Ellen said, "That's enough." "No," I replied. "It's not." She said 2 weeks and brought in a 3-month desk. She has another house and refuses to sleep there. You do her laundry and cry while you fold it, then accuse me of shaming you because I notice. I cried because of you. Tessa rose from the stair. "I'll leave." Ellen spun toward her. "No, I'm clearly ruining his life." I said no one has to leave, I told her. You just listed reasons I should. I listed things that need to change. Ellen's voice sharpened. "You mean I need to change? I mean all of us. You made eggs and bought bad yogurt, Frank. You have not transformed. I know. Do you? Because you stand there monitoring every plate and sock like you've been appointed family conscience. I'm trying to stop doing what we've always done. What we've always done kept this family together. Did it?" The question left a silence behind it. Tessa looked toward the door. Ellen went pale. "You think I caused this?" she said. "No. You think I made the children selfish and made you absent, and taught Tessa to drive her husband away. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. That is not what I think. Then what do you think?" I looked at my wife, at the woman who had made a life around all of us and now heard every objection as proof the life had been wasted. "I think you disappeared inside being needed," I said, "and I helped you." She stared at me. Tessa whispered, "Dad, I think I let you carry things because it was easier. I think the children learned that love looks like you working while everybody else sits down. I think we're all terrified that if you stop, we'll find out we don't know how to be with each other." Ellen's eyes filled, but her voice stayed cold. "And your solution is to take away the one thing I know how to give. No. I want you to have a choice. I do have a choice. Do you? She slapped me. It wasn't hard. The sound was worse than the pain. Tessa covered her mouth. Ellen looked at her own hand, as if it belonged to someone else. Frank, she said. I went upstairs. My first thought was to pack a bag. Not because I wanted to leave my marriage, but because I wanted to do something with clean edges. Put shirts in a case, take keys, close a door, become a problem with a beginning and an end. I set a duffel on our bed and put in underwear, socks, 2 shirts, and my shoulder medication. Ellen stood in the doorway. If you leave, she said, don't call it a boundary. I wasn't going to call it anything. You'll make me explain it to them. You don't have to explain. I always have to explain. I took the shirts back out. She watched me empty the bag, but did not thank me. I slept on the couch. Sometime after midnight, a blanket settled over me. I opened my eyes enough to see Tessa walking away. In the morning, Ellen's car was gone. Her mug sat clean and dry beside the coffee maker. Tessa came down wearing the red sweater from the night before. Where's Mom? I don't know. She didn't tell you? No. Tessa checked her phone. She left a message in the family group. She said she needs the day alone. What family group? Tessa looked at me. The one without you. My phone rang on the coffee table. Ben's name appeared on the screen. Tessa folded her arms. You should answer, she said. He's probably calling to explain your wife to you, I answered. What happened? Ben asked. Good morning to you too. Mom said she needed space. Tessa said you two had a fight. Tessa is 10 feet from me. You can stop using her as a wire service. Ben lowered his voice. Did you make Mom leave? No. Then why did she leave? She didn't tell me. Tessa leaned against the kitchen island, watching my face. Ben exhaled into the phone. Nia says not to come over. Nia remains the wisest Mercer. I'm serious, Dad. So am I. What did you say to Mom? The truth, badly. That clears it up. She slapped me. Tessa's eyes dropped. There was a long silence on the phone. Mom slapped you? Yes. Like slapped? As opposed to what? I don't know. You've never said that sentence before. She was angry. She apologized with her face. We haven't discussed it. Are you okay? My cheek has made a complete recovery. I mean, I know what you mean. Tessa moved toward the coffee maker. Ben said, Do you want me to come over? No. Does Tessa? I held out the phone. She shook her head. No one needs to come over, I said. What if Mom doesn't come back? The question found the part of me I'd spent all morning stepping around. She'll come back. You know that? No. Ben went quiet again. Call me if you need anything, he said. I won't. I know. That's why I said it. He hung up. Tessa poured coffee into Ellen's mug, noticed what she had done, and transferred it to another one. The family group started when we planned your 70th birthday, she said. I'm 66. It was your 60th. That makes slightly more sense. We didn't create it to exclude you. You just found that useful later. It's mostly Mom sending pictures of birds. She sends me those directly. Then you're not missing much. I sat at the table. Did she say where she was going? No. She said, I need a day that doesn't belong to any of you. That sounded like Ellen. Not the words exactly. The punctuation. Tessa sat opposite me. Do you think she'll leave you? Yes. She looked startled. I thought you just told Ben she'd come back. I told him what I wanted to be true. Tessa wrapped both hands around her coffee. You were going to leave last night. I was going to pack. That's not different. I unpacked. Because she caught you. Because she was right. She stared into the mug. Luke packed while I was at work, she said. He left a note on the kitchen counter beside the dry cleaning receipt. You never told us that. You never asked how he left. You announced a separation over Christmas pie. I was trying not to interrogate anybody, Mom asked. And I lied. I said we planned it together. Why? Because the truth made me look stupid. It made him look cowardly. It made me look like someone whose husband had to escape. The refrigerator clicked on behind us. I don't think Luke is afraid of you, I said. He said he couldn't breathe. That isn't the same thing. It feels the same when you're the reason. I picked up the exercise band from the chair beside me, stretched it once, and set it down. Did you put the blanket on me? Yes. Thank you. You looked cold. I was. Mom always says you kick blankets off. She has 40 years of data. Tessa almost smiled. Then her work phone buzzed in the den. She glanced toward the hall. I'm supposed to lead a 9 o'clock call, so lead it. I can't sit in there like nothing happened. You sit in there while everything happens. She gave me a tired look. That wasn't criticism, I said. It's your job. I think I'm going to work from the house. I did not ask which house. She stood, went upstairs, and came down 20 minutes later, dressed and carrying her laptop bag. At the front door, she hesitated. Do you want me to stay? No. Do you want me to go? Those are different questions. That's a very mom answer. You'll be all right? You don't know that. No, but you know where the printer cable goes now. She made a face and left. The house became so quiet I could hear the furnace pushing air through the vents. I wandered into the den. Tessa's treadmill sat beneath the standing desk. Her 2 monitors faced the empty chair. The crooked one had begun leaning again. My filing cabinet remained against the wall, unreachable behind 3 storage bins. I did not move them. In our bedroom, I sat at my desk and paid the water bill. Then I did my shoulder exercises, loaded the dishwasher, and cleaned the oatmeal pan. None of it required an audience. At 11:30, I started to text Ellen. I wrote, "Are you okay?" I erased it. I wrote, "Where are you?" I erased that faster. Finally, I wrote, "I'm here when you want to talk." I sent it. She did not answer. At 2, I ate a sandwich standing at the counter and understood why Ellen did it. Sitting down for one sandwich felt ceremonial. Standing made it seem like the day had not been interrupted. At 3:15, Ben pulled into the driveway. I met him at the door. I said not to come. Nia said not to come. You said you didn't need me. Those aren't binding. What do you want? To check on you. You've checked? He looked past me into the house. Where's Tessa? At her house. Really? Yes. Mom? Still gone. Ben stepped inside anyway. You eat? Yes. Take your medicine? I'm not an abandoned spaniel. I've never had an abandoned spaniel. I don't know the protocol. He followed me to the kitchen and inspected the sink. You cleaned. I live here. He leaned against the refrigerator. What did you say that made Mom slap you? I told him. Not every word. Enough. He listened without interrupting, which was unusual enough that I wondered whether Nia had trained him in the car. When I finished, he rubbed the back of his neck. That was a lot to say at once. I noticed. You basically told her our entire family is a symptom. I did not. That's how it sounds. Was I wrong? He considered the question. No. The answer surprised both of us. But being right isn't a hall pass, he added. I'm learning. Mom likes doing things for us. I know. She also complains nobody helps. I know. She gets mad if we help wrong. I know. So what are we supposed to do? I looked at him. He laughed. Right. Bad question. You learned faster than I did. He opened the refrigerator and took out the vanilla yogurt. Can I have this? Your mother doesn't want it. You bought vanilla? I was unsupervised. He ate it at the counter. At 4, Ellen's car pulled into the driveway. Ben set down the yogurt container like he'd been caught stealing. Ellen came in carrying her purse and a small paper bag from a bookstore across town. Her hair was windblown. She looked tired, but not wrecked. Ben walked toward her. Mom, no. He stopped. I'm not hosting a family meeting, she said. Go home. I know what you wanted. Go want it with your wife. Ben looked at me. I lifted both hands. He hugged Ellen. She allowed that, then pointed him toward the door. When he was gone, she put the bookstore bag on the kitchen table. Where's Tessa? Working at her house. Ellen's eyes moved to the empty driveway. She went alone? She drove a car, Ellen. She didn't cross the Arctic. I'm asking? Yes. She went alone. Ellen took off her coat. Did she eat? I don't know. She caught herself before the next question. I went to a movie, she said. What movie? I don't remember the title. Was it good? No, it was wonderful. I waited. There were 11 people in the theater, she continued. Nobody asked me where the mustard was. Then I went to lunch and ordered fish tacos. You hate fish tacos. I do. I wanted to find out whether that was still true. Was it? Yes. She almost smiled. I'm sorry I slapped you, she said. The words came without decoration. You should be. I know. You don't get to do that again. I know. I'm not saying that to punish you. I know what you're saying. I nodded. She put both palms on the table. You were right about some of it. Some. Don't ruin this. I closed my mouth. I don't know who I am if I'm not taking care of someone, she said. That isn't your diagnosis? It's mine. I sat in that awful movie and kept reaching for my phone because somebody might need me. I did need you. That's not romantic today. I didn't mean it romantically, I know. She sat down. You were also wrong. I did not disappear. I made choices. Some were bad, some were generous, some were easier than asking all of you to notice me. I should have noticed. Yes. I'm sorry, I know. That was not forgiveness, but it wasn't rejection either. The front door opened. Tessa came in with her laptop bag and a grocery store sack. She saw Ellen and froze. You're back? I live here, Ellen said. Tessa crossed the room and hugged her. Ellen held her, but after a few seconds, she stepped back first. I brought dinner, Tessa said. From the sack, she removed a rotisserie chicken, a container of potato salad, and a bag of rolls. No vegetable? I asked. She pulled out a bag of baby carrots. They're called that. They aren't actual babies. I know what carrots are. Do you? Ellen took plates from the cabinet. Then she paused and put them back. We need to talk before we eat. Tessa's shoulders dropped. I can't do another talk. This one is short. You can stay until the end of March. After that, we decide again. The den goes back to your father, either way. Tessa looked at me. I didn't ask her to say that. No, Ellen said. He didn't. What if Luke and I still don't know what we're doing? You have a house. It doesn't feel like home. Then you need to find out why. Tessa's chin trembled. Ellen continued before she could speak. You'll handle your breakfast, lunch, laundry, and work things. We'll share dinner. If I offer help, you can say yes. If I don't offer, ask me like I'm a person who might say no. This is because I told you to hurry. No. That was just the first time your father saw it. I felt the sentence but let it pass. Tessa nodded once. Okay. And nobody calls from another room unless there's smoke. Okay. We ate rotisserie chicken from paper plates because Ellen refused to create dishes on the first night of her new life. Halfway through dinner, Tessa set down her roll. Could Luke come here next Friday? Ellen and I both stopped chewing. For what? I asked. Dinner. The restaurant was a disaster. He said he might be willing to talk somewhere familiar. Ellen looked at Tessa for a long moment. One dinner, she said. Simple. Simple, Tessa agreed. But she was already looking toward the kitchen as if she could see the table set. The next morning, Tessa made toast. This would not normally qualify as an event, but she made 3 pieces, put the butter and jam on the table, and carried her own coffee to the den without asking whether anyone intended to remove the mug later. Ellen sat at the table in her robe, both hands around a cup. Aren't you eating? Tessa asked. I'm not hungry yet. Do you want eggs? No. Oatmeal? No. Are you sure? Ellen gave her a look. Tessa lifted both hands. Right. Person who might say no. She took her toast and left. Ellen watched the doorway. You all right? I asked. I don't know what to do with my hands. Drink your coffee. That uses one. I put the newspaper in the other. She hit me with it. That night, I returned to our bed. Neither of us announced the decision. I came upstairs and found the couch blanket folded on my pillow. Ellen had moved my desk chair so she could open her dresser again. I could move the desk to the garage, I said. No, the temperature changes will warp it. You sound like me. I've been listening for 40 years. She got into bed. I turned off the lamp, then lay in the dark waiting to find out whether forgiveness had a sound. After a while, Ellen said, I meant what I said about the slap. I know. I frightened myself. Me too. I wanted to hurt you for saying something I already knew. I reached across the space between us and put my hand palm up on the sheet. I didn't touch her. A few seconds later, her fingers settled into mine. We stayed that way until my shoulder hurt. By Wednesday, Friday's simple dinner had acquired a menu. Tessa printed it in the den and left it on the kitchen counter. Ellen read it twice. This is not simple. It's 1 protein and vegetables, Tessa said. It's 4 side dishes. Carrots barely count. They counted Monday. Luke loves your pot roast. Luke is coming to talk to you, not review my cooking. I know. Do you? Tessa took the menu and folded it in half. I thought familiar food might help. Help what? Make him remember us. Ellen's expression softened, but not enough. If your marriage depends on my gravy, you have a larger problem. It doesn't. Then we'll order pizza. Mom, Tessa. I was at the sink rinsing a coffee cup. Both women looked at me, apparently waiting to see whether I had learned anything. "Don't ask me," I said. "I wasn't," Tessa replied. "You were looking. I'm allowed to look at my father, not according to recent evidence." Ellen reached for the folded menu. "I'll make the roast." Tessa's shoulders dropped with relief. "And potatoes," Ellen added. "You make the carrots and green beans. Buy rolls. We'll get a pie. Your apple pie is Luke's favorite. No, it doesn't have to be fancy. Pie is fancy. People just hide it under fruit. I can make it." Ellen handed back the menu. "Good." Tessa stared at it as if the paper had personally betrayed her. "I've never made a pie. You manage implementation projects. Implement one, I'll buy one. Also good." Tessa returned to the den. I dried my cup. "Do you want to make the roast?" I asked. "Yes." "Do you want to make the potatoes?" "Yes." "Do you want to feed Luke?" She opened the refrigerator and studied its contents. "I want him to come into this house and feel welcome." That wasn't the question. It's the answer I have. I waited. She shut the refrigerator. "I don't know if I can help her without doing too much." "You can. That sounds certain." "You made rules. Rules are easier than feelings. That should be painted on Tessa's wall." Ellen leaned against the counter. "I want to see if I can do this because I choose it. Not because she needs me, and not because you're measuring whether I sit down. I won't measure, you will, quietly. I'll ask once. And believe my answer?" "I'll try. No, believe it." I nodded. The changes in the house were small enough to miss if you weren't looking for them. Tessa began carrying her dishes out of the den. She washed clothes on Thursday and left them unfolded in a basket, which nearly killed Ellen. "They'll wrinkle," Ellen said as we passed the open guest room door. "They're hers. She'll go to dinner looking like an accordion. She owns an iron. She thinks steam from the shower does the same thing. So did I until I was 40. You still think that." I closed the guest room door. Tessa spent one night at her house. She did not tell us beforehand. At 6, she shut down her computer, put on her coat, and said, "I'm going home." Ellen's hand tightened around the spoon she was using to stir soup. "For the night?" "That's usually what people mean." "Do you want company?" Tessa gave her a tired smile. "No. Call if I know." After she left, Ellen went to the front window. I joined her but didn't speak. "You're pleased," she said. "No. You think it's progress? I think she's driving 12 minutes. Alone, in a heated vehicle." Ellen looked at me. "Sorry." We ate soup without discussing the empty guest room. At 10:30, Tessa texted the family group that she was staying there. Ellen showed me the message as though it came from another country. At 7 the next morning, Tessa walked into our kitchen carrying her work bag and a sack of bagels. "You're back early," Ellen said. "My internet went out." "Did it?" Tessa looked at me. "Fine." The internet worked. I didn't. Ellen began to rise. Tessa held up one hand. "Don't." She put the bagels on the table and took the chair beside her mother. "The house sounds different," she said. "The refrigerator makes this clicking noise, and the heat comes on like somebody breathing in another room." "I could look at the refrigerator," I offered. Both of them said, "No." Tessa laughed, then started crying. Ellen took her hand but stayed in her chair. "I made it until 5 in the morning," Tessa said. "That counts," Ellen replied. "It didn't feel like home. It won't right away. What if it never does? Then you'll decide what comes next. Not we, you." Tessa heard it too. On Thursday evening, Ben called to ask what time he and Nia should arrive Friday. I put him on speaker. "Who invited you?" I asked. "Tessa." From the den, she called. "Luke thinks it'll be less awkward if Ben and Nia are there." I walked to the doorway. "Did Luke say that?" "He said he didn't want the entire dinner focused on us." "That's not the same. It means the same thing." I looked toward the ceiling. Ben's voice came through the phone. "I can still hear you." 6:30, Tessa said. "What should we bring?" "A salad," I replied. Nia was going to make one. "Then bring ice." "We have ice," Ellen called from the living room. "Bring nothing," Tessa said. "That's my specialty," Ben replied. Nia arrived Friday carrying salad and a bakery apple pie. Ben carried wine. "I brought emotional support," he said, lifting the bottle. "You brought red for pot roast?" Tessa asked. "I brought a bottle with a pretty house on it." Nia handed the pie to Ellen. Tessa said store-bought was fine. "It is," Ellen replied. Tessa inspected the label. Luke likes the one with the crumb topping. He'll survive pastry variation, Nia said. The roast had been in the oven since noon. By 4, Tessa had added mushrooms to Ellen's shopping list, fresh rosemary to the potatoes, and a sauce she had found online. We don't need sauce, Ellen told her. It's for the carrots. Carrots don't need sauce. These do. Tessa had spent most of the afternoon moving between her laptop and the kitchen. Every break from work produced another bowl. She arranged the dining table with the good white cloth, the silver candlesticks, and the red napkins we'd used at Christmas. I stood in the doorway. I thought this was simple. It is simple. You've recreated December. It's a tablecloth. You passed 3 others to get to it. Tessa smoothed a crease. Luke said Christmas was when he realized how bad things had gotten. So, you're rebuilding the scene? I'm giving us a better version. Does he know Ben and Nia are coming? Yes. Does he know about the roast and candlesticks? Why would he need to? Because he thinks he's coming here to talk. We can talk over dinner. You don't need a set for that. Tessa's hand stopped on the tablecloth. I need tonight to go well. Then let it be what it is. What is it, Dad? A separated couple eating meat at my parents' house while everybody waits for my husband to decide whether I'm tolerable? I didn't say that. You never have to. Nia entered carrying forks. The table looks nice, she said carefully. Tessa went into the kitchen. Nia watched her leave. How much are we pretending? She asked me. I haven't received my assignment. In the kitchen, Ellen was peeling potatoes at the sink. Tessa stood beside her, reading the sauce recipe from her phone. It needs orange zest. We don't have an orange, Ellen said. I bought oranges. You bought clementines. Same thing? They are not. They're emotionally the same citrus. I looked at Ellen. She tried not to smile. At 5:30, Tessa changed into the red sweater again. She wore Ellen's gold earrings. When she came down, Ben whistled. Looking good, Tess. Don't. I meant it. That's worse. At 6:15, she checked the roast. At 6:20, she checked the window. At 6:30, Luke texted that he was running late. How late? Ellen asked. He didn't say. The carrots were finished. The green beans were finished. The potatoes were ready to mash, but Ellen said she would wait so they stayed hot. At 6:45, Tessa called Luke. He didn't answer. Traffic, Ben said. He lives 15 minutes away. Could be very specific traffic. Nia kicked his ankle. At 6:53, Luke's car turned into the driveway. Tessa stood so fast she knocked a spoon off the counter. Ellen bent to pick it up. I've got it, Tessa said. She picked up the spoon herself, set it in the sink, and took one breath before opening the door. Luke entered carrying flowers and no overnight bag. He greeted Ben and Nia, shook my hand, and gave the flowers to Ellen. Thank you for doing this, he said. Ellen looked toward the crowded stove. We're still deciding who did it. Tessa took Luke's coat. I thought we could eat first. He glanced at the dining room, the red napkins, the candles, and the place set beside hers. His face changed so briefly I might have imagined it. This looks nice, he said. Tessa smiled with visible relief. In the kitchen, a timer rang. Ellen reached for the oven mitts. Tessa was already leading Luke toward the table. Mom, she called over her shoulder. We're ready. Ellen slid on the oven mitts. Start without us, she said. Us? Tessa asked. Your father is carrying the roast. I was? Ellen handed me the roasting pan. It was heavier than my shoulder liked, but I kept my mouth shut and carried it into the dining room. Luke stepped forward to help. I've got it, I said. Your right arm's shaking. It's building character. He took one side anyway. Together, we set the roast on the trivet in the center of the table. Tessa adjusted it half an inch so the platter aligned with the candlesticks. There, she said. Luke glanced at me. I sat down. Ben poured wine. Nia passed the salad. Tessa took her place beside Luke, but remained turned toward the kitchen, listening for every cabinet door. Ellen carried in the carrots. I can get the green beans, I said. I've got them. Do you want help? She met my eyes. No, sit. I sat. The potatoes still needed mashing. The sauce Tessa had added to the menu simmered on the back burner. From the dining room, we could hear the hand mixer, then Ellen swearing when it struck the side of the bowl. Ben smiled into his wine. Christmas coffee, he said. Tessa didn't smile. Luke unfolded his napkin. I really am sorry you went to all this trouble, Ellen. She didn't, Tessa said. We all helped. Luke looked at the table. Right, I made the carrots. They look good. And the beans, I said they look good. You looked at Mom when you said it. I was apologizing to her. You don't need to apologize to my mother for eating dinner. I was apologizing for the work. Tessa reached for her wine. Nia asked Luke how his job was going. He told her about a new manager who used the phrase low-hanging fruit so often that someone had put a bowl of apples on his desk. Ben asked whether the apples were low enough. For 3 minutes, the conversation moved like a normal thing. Ellen brought in the potatoes. Everyone shifted bowls to make room. That's everything, she said. The sauce, Tessa replied. It needs a few more minutes. The carrots are getting cold. They'll survive. Should we wait? Ellen looked at the 6 people seated around her table. No, eat. She returned to the kitchen. Tessa picked up the carving fork and held it toward me. Dad, it's already sliced. Mom always serves it. Your mother is making sauce. You know how. So do you. Her smile tightened. Fine. She lifted one slice of roast, tore it in half with the fork, and dropped both pieces back into the pan. This is why Mom does it. Luke reached for the fork. I have it. You just said, I said I have it. She separated another slice, this time successfully, and put it on his plate. I can serve myself, he said. I know. Then let me. I'm being nice? No, you're putting meat on my plate. Ben drank more wine. Nia touched his wrist before he could contribute. Tessa set down the fork. Does everyone want to announce their boundaries before we eat, or can we enjoy one meal? No one announced anything, Luke said. You didn't have to. Frank, Ellen's voice seemed to say from the kitchen, though she had not spoken. I kept my hands on my knees. Tessa served herself, then passed the fork to Ben. By the time the roast had gone around, everybody had food, except Ellen. Her plate remained clean beside mine, a red napkin folded across it exactly as it had been on Christmas. I watched the empty place. I did not move my plate. I had promised to believe her. The sauce kept bubbling in the kitchen. Luke picked up his fork, then put it down. Should we wait for Ellen? She told us to eat, Tessa said. We can wait. If we wait, everything gets cold, and then she'll feel bad. Nobody ate. Tessa looked toward the kitchen. Mom? The spoon scraped the saucepan. Almost done, Ellen called. Tessa drummed her fingers once against the table. Mom, can you hurry? The room changed. The words were quieter than they had been on Christmas. That made no difference. Tessa heard them after they left her mouth. Her eyes closed. I didn't mean in the kitchen. The burner clicked off. Ellen appeared in the doorway without the sauce. She had made herself a plate. Roast, potatoes, beans, carrots. The plate was full and steaming. Tessa stood. Mom, I'm sorry. Ellen walked to her place and sat down. The sauce isn't finished, Tessa said, as if the information had escaped on its own. No. Do you want me to finish it? No. But you made it. You wanted it. Tessa's face went red. I thought it would be good with the carrots. Then finish it. I don't know how. The recipe is on your phone. This isn't about sauce. No, Ellen said. It isn't. Luke looked at his plate. Ben looked at me. I said nothing. Tessa pulled out her chair but didn't sit. You told me I could ask. You told me to hurry. I apologized. On Christmas. Then you did it again. I'm nervous. My husband is sitting here deciding whether to stay married to me. Luke's head came up. That is not what I'm doing. What are you doing then? I came to dinner. Don't. You said dinner. You said Ben and Nia would be here so it wouldn't feel like an interrogation. I said we could talk as a family. You said simple. It is simple. Luke looked at the candlesticks, the red napkins, the 6 serving dishes, and Ellen's untouched fork. This is Christmas with pot roast. Tessa folded her arms across the red sweater. I wanted a better memory. You wanted a different outcome. Is that terrible? No. But it's not the same as talking to me. I've done nothing but talk to you. You present. What does that mean? You create the answer you want, then walk me through it like I'm late to a meeting. Tessa turned to Ellen. Are you enjoying this? Ellen blinked. What? Everyone telling me what's wrong with me while you sit there proving some point. I'm trying to eat my dinner. You could have said no to the sauce. I did. After you started making it, I told you I didn't want to make it. You bought the ingredients, left the recipe on the counter, and asked 3 times whether I'd looked at it. That was not asking you to make it. It was making sure I knew what would disappoint you. Tessa pushed her chair in hard enough that the silverware jumped. So this whole night is my fault. No, I said. She rounded on me. I knew you couldn't stay out of it. I'm saying fault isn't a useful word. You've been collecting faults since Christmas. I've been noticing things I helped create. You created me. Is that your apology? Tessa, Ellen said. No. He keeps saying he's responsible, but somehow I'm the only one with rules. I have rules, I said. Your mother has rules. Ben and Nia have rules. Luke moved into an apartment because he couldn't enforce his. That's not fair, Luke said. Neither was leaving a note beside the dry cleaning. He stared at me. Tessa's eyes flashed. I told you that privately. I'm sorry. Are you? Or are you demonstrating emotional participation? The phrase sounded like something she had saved from one of our arguments. I shouldn't have said it, I replied. Stop being calm, her voice cracked across the room. Just once, say what you mean without turning it into a lesson. I stood. What I mean is, your mother is allowed to sit down. No one said she wasn't. You did. Every time you treated her chair like a place she could reach after everybody else was satisfied. I asked her to make sauce. You asked her to disappear into the kitchen so this dinner could look right. Tessa's eyes filled. This dinner was supposed to save my marriage. Ellen put down her fork. No dinner can do that. You didn't even try. The sentence hung there. Ellen stared at her daughter. Then she pushed her chair back and stood, not to serve, not to clear, but to face her. I have tried for you every day since you came into this house, she said. I opened the door before you asked. I fed you, washed your clothes, gave you a room, listened to every version of every conversation with Luke, and let you be angry because I knew you were frightened. Tessa wiped her cheek. I didn't ask you to do all that, I know. That is my part of this. I kept giving things you didn't ask for, then told myself you needed them so I wouldn't have to ask what I needed. Luke sat motionless. Nea's hand rested beside Ben's on the table, not touching it. Ellen continued. You can stay in our home. You can call me when you hurt. You can ask for help. But I'm not your waitress, your excuse, or the proof that this family is loving because the food arrives on time. I never called you a waitress. You didn't have to. Tessa looked at me, as if searching for the force behind Ellen's words. I said, this is her answer. You won, she whispered. There isn't a winner. There always is. She pulled off the gold earrings and set them beside her plate. I'll get my things. Ellen's hand moved. For a second I thought she would catch Tessa by the arm. She let her pass. Tessa ran upstairs. Ben stood halfway. Should somebody go after her? No, Ellen said. You're letting her leave? I'm letting her choose. Ben sat again. In the kitchen, the unfinished sauce began to spit on the cooling burner. Ben looked toward it. I'll turn that off. It is off, I said. I'll move it then. He went into the kitchen. We heard a drawer open, then another. Where are the pot holders? No one answered. A moment later, Nia followed him. You're looking at them, she said. Oh, Luke stood. I should go. Ellen looked at him. Did you eat anything? A broken laugh escaped him. She covered her mouth. I'm sorry. Habit. It's good roast, he said. You don't have to say that. It is. He picked up his plate and carried it to the kitchen. Upstairs, drawers opened and shut. Tessa came down dragging the largest suitcase. The red sweater was bunched at her waist, where the suitcase had caught it. Luke moved toward her. Do you want help? No. Where are you going? Home. Do you want me to follow you? No. I can make sure you get there. I know the way. At the front door, she turned to Ellen. Are you going to stop me? Ellen's face folded for 1 second, then steadied. Call me when you get there. That's not what I asked. No, Ellen said. I'm not going to stop you. Tessa looked at me. I wanted to say I loved her. It felt insufficient and strategic, so I said the thing that was true in that moment. Drive carefully. She laughed through her tears. Unbelievable. Then she left. Luke waited 30 seconds before taking his coat. I'm not following her, he said. I'm going home. To which one? Ben asked from the kitchen. Nia said his name sharply. Luke looked at Ellen. I'm sorry tonight became this. It was already this, she replied. He nodded and left. The 5 of us remained around a table set for 6. Ben brought the saucepan from the kitchen. The sauce had separated into a shiny orange puddle with soft white lumps. I don't think I saved it, he said. You tried? Nia replied. She took Ellen's plate, warmed it for 30 seconds, and set it back in front of her before serving herself. Ellen sat. For once, nobody asked whether she wanted anything. We ate around the empty chair. The roast was excellent. The carrots were cold. The apple pie had the wrong topping, and Ben ate 2 pieces. When the others left, Ellen found the gold earrings beside Tessa's plate and closed them in her fist. At midnight, my phone buzzed on the nightstand. The message came directly to me. I'm at the house. Don't send Mom. I need one night where nobody takes care of me. A second message appeared before I could answer. Please tell her I ate, I answered. I'll tell her. Good night. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, and did not return. Ellen was awake beside me. Was that her? Yes. Is she all right? She's at the house. She ate. What did she eat? I didn't request an inventory. Ellen sat up. I should call. She asked us not to take care of her tonight. She asked you. She asked me to tell you. That's not the same. No, it means she knew you'd want to go over. Ellen pushed back the blankets and put her feet on the floor. I waited. She stayed there for a long time, facing the dark window. Then she lay down again. This feels awful, she said. I know. Is it supposed to? Probably. I hate when you say probably. I'm trying not to sound certain. I hate that too. She rolled toward me. What if she thinks I chose you? You did choose me. Her face tightened. And you chose her, I added. You just didn't choose for her. That sounds like something from a greeting card nobody would buy. I'll work on it. She reached for my hand beneath the blanket. Don't, I pulled back. I meant, don't work on it. Her fingers found mine. Tessa arrived at 9 the next morning with Ben and an empty cargo van. We were still at the kitchen table. Ellen had made coffee, but no breakfast. I had cut an orange into uneven sections and placed them on a plate between us. Tessa came in without knocking. I'm taking the office stuff. Ellen stood. All of it, the desk, monitors, treadmill, printer, the storage bins. You don't have to do it today. I know. Ben came through the door carrying 2 paper sacks. I brought breakfast, he announced. Nobody panic. Nia followed him with a tray of coffees. He tried to bring 1 bagel for 5 people, she said. I forgot Tessa was coming. You came with her. The counting happened before pickup. Tessa took the coffee Nia held out but didn't remove her coat. I want to get this done. All right, I said. Her eyes moved to me. Can you help take the desk apart? She asked it correctly. Not pointedly. Not as a performance. Just a question. Yes. The den looked different with the monitors dark. Tessa unplugged cables and wound each one into a careful loop. Ben began carrying storage bins to the van. Not that one, I told him. He stopped. Why? That's the filing cabinet. This is a plastic tote. Then carry it. Excellent management. Tessa lowered the standing desk. The motor hummed until the desktop reached its lowest point. I kept the instructions, she said. I'm proud of you. They were under the printer, pride withdrawn. We removed the monitor arms first. She held the brackets while I loosened the clamps. When we turned the desk on its side, she sorted the bolts into small bags and labeled them with tape. You've changed, I said. I don't want you driving over because I used a medium bolt where a short one goes. That would be a manufacturing defect. Her mouth moved, but the smile didn't stay. Dad. I waited. What happened last night wasn't all my fault. I know. You all sat there waiting for me to fail. That's how it felt? That's what happened. I was waiting for your mother to decide what she wanted. You were enjoying being right. The accusation stung because some part of it found a home. I wasn't enjoying it by the end. By the end. No, I said. It wasn't all your fault. She slid a bolt into a bag. I shouldn't have told Luke about the note. You shouldn't have known. You told me. I told you because I thought we were having one honest conversation, and I spent it listening for evidence. Yes, I'm sorry. She pressed the tape around the bag. Do you still think I treated Mom like a waitress? Sometimes. Do you still think I drove Luke away? I think Luke drove to his own apartment. That isn't an answer. It's the answer I can give. He made choices. So did you. She looked toward the doorway, where Ellen stood out of sight, except for the edge of one slipper. I know Mom wanted to help me, Tessa said. I know. Why was it wrong to let her? It wasn't always wrong. That's not useful. No, it's life. She gave a bitter laugh. You've gotten very philosophical since you made oatmeal. I bought cilantro too. That was parsley. No, it wasn't. Ellen stepped into the doorway. Tessa, our daughter, stood. Ellen opened her hand. The gold earrings lay in her palm. You left these. Tessa looked at them. I don't want them. They're mine. I know. That was humor. Tessa's eyes filled. I ruined your dinner. Yes, Ellen said. I looked at her. She looked back as if daring me to correct the sentence. You also gave me a reason to say something I should have said years ago, she continued. That part wasn't a gift. I'm not thanking you, but it's true. I won't stay here again. You may need to. No, then don't. But don't make promises because you're ashamed. Tessa stared at the earrings. Do you want me to take these? I want you to know I'm offering them. You may say no. The words sounded almost clinical, but Ellen's hand shook. Tessa took the earrings. Thank you. Ellen nodded. I love you when you need me, she said. I also love you when you don't. Tessa closed her fingers around the earrings. I don't know how to do that. Neither do I. They hugged in the middle of the den beside the upside-down standing desk. Ben walked past carrying a monitor. Do we come back later? Yes, all three of us said. By noon, the den was empty except for my filing cabinet and the dust outlines where furniture had stood. Tessa refused lunch. Ellen did not offer a second time. At the door, Tessa handed me the key to the cargo van. Can you drive it? My shoulder. I can drive, Ben said. You backed into our mailbox at 16, Tessa replied. That mailbox moved. I'll drive, Nia said. Nobody argued. The van pulled away with Tessa in the passenger seat. Her car remained at the curb, so Ben and Nia would have to bring her back for it. That unnecessary complication comforted me. It meant she had not become perfectly self-sufficient in one night. She had simply moved a desk. Ellen stood in the den after they left. You can bring your desk back now, she said. Tomorrow. Why tomorrow? Because I don't want the room to look like I was waiting to reclaim territory. Were you? Yes. She touched the filing cabinet. I liked your desk in the bedroom. You said you hated it. I hated the chair. The chair is part of the desk. It has wheels. We can negotiate. We moved it back together the following afternoon. Ellen carried the drawers while I took one end, and Ben, who had returned for his missing coffee thermos, took the other. When the desk was beneath the window again, I placed the model boat on the filing cabinet. The repaired mast leaned slightly if you viewed it from the door. Still crooked, Ben said. It has character. That's what you said about your shaking arm. Go home. He did, taking his thermos and my 14mm socket, which I found out later had been in his trunk all along. The first week without Tessa was quieter than the first morning she'd gone to work at her house. Ellen cooked too much food. She made a pot of chili large enough for a road crew and froze 6 containers. Twice she started up the stairs, carrying towels before remembering the guest room bed was empty. She did not call Tessa. Tessa did not call us. Ben sent updates from the family group until Ellen told him to stop. She's not a weather system, Ellen said. We don't need hourly conditions. On the 8th day, Tessa called while we were eating. Ellen's hand moved toward the phone and stopped above it. Answer, I said. I know. She picked it up. Hello? I could hear Tessa's voice, but not the words. Yes, Ellen said. I'm fine. A pause. No, I'm not cooking. Another pause. It's 8 o'clock. Why are you making pie? Ellen looked at me. No, you can't substitute baking soda for powder. They are emotionally different. Tessa laughed loudly enough for me to hear. Ellen talked her through the recipe. She did not offer to drive over. When the call ended, she placed the phone beside her plate and ate another bite before telling me the crust had probably failed. 2 days later, Tessa brought us half the pie. The crust had failed. We ate it from bowls with spoons. Luke did not move home. He and Tessa continued meeting once a week, sometimes with help, and sometimes at the same Italian restaurant where their first dinner had gone badly. Tessa stopped reporting each conversation to Ellen. We learned that not knowing could be its own form of respect. Ellen began going to afternoon movies on Wednesdays. She saw 3 terrible ones in a row and refused to stop. The bad ones are quieter, she explained. Once she invited me. I talked during the previews and lost the privilege. At home, I cooked on Tuesdays. My meals had clean edges: meat, vegetable, starch. Ellen tried to add a 4th thing the first 2 weeks. On the 3rd, she sat down with a book while I burned pork chops. She ate them without correction. We still fought. I watched too closely when she served people. She offered too quickly when Ben needed something. Once, she accused me of turning restraint into a hobby. I accused her of buying vanilla yogurt on purpose to prove she could use it in something. Neither of us left the room. Tessa asked me to look at her clicking refrigerator in April. Saturday, I said. You can't come sooner? No. Is this a boundary? I have a movie with your mother Friday. You hate her movies. I lost a privilege. I'm earning it back. On Saturday, I drove to Tessa's house with my tool bag. The dry erase calendar was gone from the refrigerator. In its place was one grocery list held by a magnet. The clicking came from the ice maker. I showed her how to shut off the water, remove the tray, and clear a frozen piece lodged behind it. She did the work. I held the flashlight. You could have fixed this in 5 minutes, she said. It took us 12. You know what I mean. Yes. She wiped her hands on a towel. Luke and I are staying separated. I'm sorry. We're not deciding anything permanent yet. All right. You don't have advice? I have plenty. She laughed. At the door, she said, I'm still angry with you. I know, I love you, I know that too. Do you like me? Less when you repeat questions. She hugged me anyway. Summer passed without a family dinner at our house. We met Ben and Nia at restaurants. Tessa joined twice and canceled once. Ellen did not make excuses for her. In October, Tessa came for coffee and sat at the kitchen table without opening a laptop. She looked stronger, though not happier. Luke had renewed his apartment lease. She had taken his name off the dry erase calendar before removing it altogether. She stayed 40 minutes and washed her own mug. At the door, she asked Ellen, What are we doing for Christmas? Ellen looked at me. I waited. We can have it here, she said, if everyone brings part of it. What should I bring? Whatever you can make without calling me 6 times. That leaves ice. Ben has ice. Tessa smiled. I'll figure something out. After she left, Ellen opened the drawer where she kept the red napkins. Then she closed it again. Not those, she said. This year needs a different color. The new napkins were blue, though Ellen called them slate. Slate is gray, I said. These are blue-gray. Then call them blue-gray. That sounds like paint for a prison. She bought 6 anyway. You need 5, I reminded her. I know how many people are coming. She ran her thumb over the folded fabric. For a while, Luke's name had remained attached to every future family event with an invisible question mark. Ellen had not asked Tessa whether to set a place for him, and I had learned not to reward my restraint by announcing it. Tessa answered the question herself one Sunday in November. She came over after lunch, sat at the kitchen table, and declined coffee. That was how we knew the news was serious. Luke and I aren't getting back together, she said. Ellen's hands closed around her own mug. Did something happen? No. That's the point. Tessa looked at me. I don't need advice. All right, I don't need either of you to tell me it might still work. Ellen nodded. We decided this morning, Tessa continued. We've been living apart almost a year. Every conversation about coming home turns into a conversation about which one of us has changed enough. We're tired. I'm sorry, Ellen said. I am too. What do you need? I asked. Tessa gave a small laugh. That sounded painful. It was. Can you both just sit here a minute? So we did. No one made coffee, no one listed options. Ellen moved her chair closer and held Tessa's hand across the corner of the table. Tessa cried quietly, not the frightened, furious crying from the night of the pot roast. This was grief without a project attached to it. There was nothing for any of us to organize. After a while, she wiped her face and said, He apologized for leaving the note. That was cowardly, I replied. He knows? I thought we weren't giving advice. That was a review. She smiled. Luke was not coming for Christmas. Ellen bought 6 napkins because 5 looked like an inventory, while 6 left room for a person without promising who that person might be. The family group added me in early December. My phone began vibrating during dinner. What is happening? I asked. Tessa is asking about potatoes, Ellen said. She has your number. She added you to the group. I opened the messages. Tessa, are we doing mashed or roasted? Ben. Mashed. Nia. You don't cook either. Ben. I eat both. I have standing. Tessa. Dad. I typed potatoes. 3 dots appeared beside Tessa's name. Tessa. This is why we excluded you. I survived 60 years without a family group, I said. You've been in it 10 minutes, Ellen replied. I miss the old days. The final arrangement gave me the turkey, Ellen the stuffing and cranberry relish, Tessa the green beans and apple pie, Nia the salad and rolls, and Ben the mashed potatoes. Ben objected. I thought the purpose was reducing Mom's workload, not redistributing it to innocent people. You volunteered for mashed, Nia reminded him. I voted. Democracy has consequences, I wrote. Tessa replied with a photograph of a thumbs down. Christmas morning began with Ellen standing over my shoulder while I dried the turkey. You're rubbing the skin off. I'm removing moisture. Gently. You gave me the job. I didn't revoke my right to experience fear. I opened the refrigerator. Where's the butter? She stared at me. What? You were about to ask where the butter is. I did ask. You bought it. I know I bought it. I don't know where you moved it. I put it in the butter compartment. We have a butter compartment? She pointed to the small covered shelf in the refrigerator door. That's what that's for? What did you think it was? A tiny balcony. She laughed so hard she had to sit down. I found the butter. The turkey went into the oven 11 minutes later than I'd planned. Ellen did not adjust the temperature after I left the kitchen. I knew because I put a piece of tape over the dial. You taped the oven? She asked. I know my opponent. I could peel that off. Then I'd know. You've become very suspicious. You once changed my grill temperature while I was holding the tongs. The chicken was burning. The outside was finished. The inside was a threat. She made stuffing at the other counter. We worked in the same kitchen without one of us becoming the supervisor, which required more concentration than either recipe. At noon, Ellen showered and changed clothes while I cleaned the counters. At 1, she came downstairs in a dark green sweater and found me sitting at the table with coffee. You're done? The turkey is in the oven. The counters are clean. You didn't start the gravy? That's after. Did you chop the celery for my stuffing? You already made the stuffing. For the extra pan. There is no extra pan. She looked toward the refrigerator. There could be. No. We always have extra. We always eat it until February. What if people want more? Then they'll remember Christmas fondly. She poured coffee and sat across from me. This feels irresponsible. You look nice. That was not responsive. I know. At 2:30, Tessa arrived carrying a casserole dish, a pie box, and a tote bag stuffed with serving utensils. She knocked before coming in. You still have a key, Ellen said. I know. You can use it. I know. Tessa set the casserole on the counter and opened the oven without asking. What temperature? 325, I said. I need 350. The turkey needs 325. My beans need 350. They're emotionally the same temperature. She looked at me. I walked into that. You did. Ellen came into the kitchen and lifted the foil from the casserole. This looks good. It isn't done. The mushrooms are a nice idea. Luke hated mushrooms. Ellen's hand paused above the dish. Tessa shrugged. I don't. She slid the casserole into the oven beneath the turkey. The pie is store-bought, she added. No shame in that, Ellen said. I took it out of the box and put it in my pie plate. Some shame in that. I brought the box in case honesty became important. She took the blue napkins from the sideboard and began setting the table. I watched her place the 6th napkin in the empty spot opposite Ben's usual chair. She stopped, considered it, then left it there. At 3, Ben and Nia arrived. Nia carried salad, rolls, and a covered bowl. Ben carried wine. Where are the potatoes? I asked. He pointed to the bowl Nia was holding. I peeled them, he said. He peeled one, Nia replied. It was a large potato. He complained the entire time. I have delicate hands. Tessa examined the bowl. Are those from a box? They were grown in a box, Ben said. Nia handed them to her. We bought prepared mashed potatoes, and he added butter, sour cream, and chives. I cooked them emotionally, Ben said. Ellen opened her mouth. I knew she was about to say she could make real ones. She looked at Ben's hopeful face, then at the clock. Put them in the oven, she said. Tessa took the bowl. I'll make room. Ben stared at his mother. You're accepting the potatoes? I'm conserving energy. This is the greatest Christmas of my life. Wait until you taste them, Nia said. The turkey finished early. I didn't trust the thermometer, so I checked it with a second thermometer. Ellen pretended not to see. We let it rest beneath foil while the green beans heated and Ben's potatoes developed a brown edge around the bowl. At 4:30, the kitchen became crowded. Nia dressed the salad. Ben sliced rolls with a bread knife held backward until she corrected him. Tessa searched for a serving spoon. Mom, every person in the room looked at her. She stopped. I was going to ask where the big silver spoon is. Second drawer, Ellen said. Tessa opened the second drawer and found it. I could have figured that out. Yes, Ellen replied, but asking where a spoon is allowed? I know. Calling from the dining room would have been annoying. I know that too. Ben looked between them. Are we still talking about a spoon? No, the four of us said. We carried everything to the table together. I brought the turkey. Ben carried his potatoes with both hands, as if they were a ceremonial object. Nia brought the salad and rolls. Tessa carried the green beans. Ellen brought the stuffing and cranberry relish. On her second trip, Ellen reached automatically for the water pitcher and gravy boat at the same time. Tessa took the pitcher. I've got it. I can carry both, I know. Ellen released the pitcher without an argument. We sat. No one had food yet. The dishes waited in the middle of the table, sending up steam. The blue napkins softened the room. Ellen's empty plate sat beside mine, but every plate was empty now. I picked up the carving knife. Who wants white meat? Everyone answered at once. I regret asking. I carved for Ben first because he was loudest, then Nia. Tessa passed plates down the table. Ellen reached for hers when it came back, but Tessa took it. Mom, she stopped again. Ellen raised an eyebrow. What? I was going to ask what you wanted. White meat, a little dark. Stuffing? Yes. Potatoes? Some. Beans? Ellen looked at the casserole. Not too many. I made them. I know. Tessa filled her mother's plate. She added cranberry relish without asking, because after all our lessons, people were still allowed to know each other. Then she set the plate in front of Ellen. It was the first plate served completely. For a moment, nobody spoke. Tessa returned to her chair and began filling her own. Ben cleared his throat. Do my potatoes get a moment? No, Nia said. They've overcome a lot. They came in plastic. Ellen picked up her fork and tasted the turkey. I waited. She caught me. Are you measuring? No. You're staring. I cooked the turkey. It's good. Good enough to swallow? She chewed deliberately. Maybe. I took my first bite. The turkey was slightly dry. Ben's potatoes were better than they had any right to be. Tessa's green beans had too many mushrooms, which suited the only person she had cooked them for. Halfway through dinner, Ellen reached for the empty butter dish. We forgot the butter. There's gravy, Tessa said. Ben looked horrified. We have rolls. I'll get it, I said. Ellen stood at the same time. So will I. We looked at each other. I know where it is, I told her. In the tiny balcony? In the tiny balcony. She sat. I brought the butter and passed it to Ben, who took enough for an agricultural subsidy. Conversation moved around the table without anyone trying to make it normal. Nia described a disastrous office gift exchange. Ben defended a mug he had given someone that changed color when heated. Tessa told us the clicking refrigerator had returned, then added that she had already called a repairman. I'm proud of you, I said. I knew you would be. She smiled, but there was sadness behind it. Luke's empty place did not vanish because the table was warm. Ellen saw it too. She did not cover it with questions. After pie, Ben stood and collected plates. I'll wash, he said. Everyone stared at him. What? Somebody take a picture, Tessa said. I've grown. You brought prepared potatoes, and yet people ate. Nia joined him at the sink. I carried serving dishes into the kitchen. Tessa wrapped leftovers. Ellen wiped the table, then stopped after one pass. Is that clean enough? She asked. No, I said. She handed me the cloth. Then enjoy. I wiped the table. When I returned to the kitchen, Tessa and Ellen stood side by side at the counter. Tessa was washing the roasting pan, while Ellen dried a bowl. Neither was hurrying. Ben dropped a spoon into the sink and splashed both of them. Sorry, you're done, Nia told him. I volunteered. You've completed your service. He saluted with the dish towel and went into the living room. Tessa handed Ellen the clean pan. I'm sorry, she said quietly. For the water? For thinking love meant nobody could say no to me. Ellen dried the rim of the pan. I'm sorry I made no look like abandonment. Tessa nodded. They did not hug. They kept working. I placed Ellen's clean plate in the cabinet. She glanced at me. "My dinner was hot," she said. "I noticed. I know." This time she was smiling.